It's 9 to noon on a wide open Wednesday. What is happening in the good land? I'm Billy Schmid, Armin Sarian here, and John Kuhn clocked in, ready to go in the Megaplex. Fellas, Three's company and this studio, albeit is already tight generally. We are having ourselves a wide open day in this tight studio. Fellas, good seeing you. Good morning. And how do we all sleep with that beautiful piece of carnivore steak in our bellies last night?
It's weird being in here and just saying goodbye to you guys, a couple hours ago, but we had ourselves a good time last night. Carnivore, the gang down there, Omar, everybody. You talk about a rolling out the red carpet scenario. And Billy, that was your first taste of it.
That was my first taste. Yeah.
We should ask you, did it live up to the billing? All the talk that me and Armin do about that phenomenal restaurant, did it live up to the hype?
It did. However, I think more than anything, it was the not only just being there, getting to get the entire experience, which also was kind of the taste of Kuhn's palate. Because Tim Scott just gave my man John carte blanche. He's like, listen, I don't necessarily know what the sides are. John's going to help us on out.
John will take care
John's
of it.
going to help us on out with the seafood.
It.
And it was everything that touched my plate was some of the best things that I've ever eaten. Like that mac and cheese was one of the best things I've ever eaten.
Oh, it's so good. That mac and cheese is so good.
That was stupid good.
They know what they're doing at every level. It's not just the steak, right? It's you talk about the appetizers with the seafood, whatever you call it.
We got the bone marrow again for you, Armin.
You got
that is now Armin's go-to.
That is fired
his go-to.
You got bone marrow. You got, even the bread slaps. The salad was delicious. Everything is so good there. First of all, I don't know where they get those shrimp from. I don't know what part of this ocean those shrimp come in that size.
Those things gotta be cooked up in a lab somewhere.
Those
are huge.
Like LeBron James type shrimps. Those are the biggest shrimp I've ever seen.
Level, yeah.
Those are big boys. So it's absolutely fantastic. It's like it always is. Billy, it was great to have you for the first time on one of these. Great to have Andy in Brookfield and Dan Janesville who put the work in week in and week out, getting their picks in for You Better You Bet, winning playoff games, and got to enjoy last night with us.
And I think my favorite part about Dan in Janesville was his admittance in multiple points during the evening of the only reason I'm here is because I bet against everything I thought during the playoffs.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, well, everybody has a strategy.
Gotta have a system.
When they gamble, everybody has a strategy when they bet. And luckily, Dan's smart enough to realize I know nothing about everything. So I'm just going to go against my gut on everything. And that got him all the way through the season, through the playoffs, through the Super Bowl, and to the dinner. Fantastic.
So good.
He faded himself. He did the opposite. He was literally George Costanza when he made his picks. He said the opposite of everything. I has to be right.
Well, and then Andy and Brookfield later on in the evening just went the complete opposite of whatever you did.
He did.
And he walked out of there a winner.
He faded me on the Kings Kings Warriors over, which when we hop back over to Potawatomi, I walked in there like, who's the guy, Vince McMahon, all excited, like I'm betting the live over. This is gonna win. I even started cashing that ticket in the third quarter in my head, and you heard me.
Yeah,
I'm happy about
quite
this.
Excited.
I got 2 wins. Of course, Warriors didn't score in the fourth, and it went under. So for Andy and Brookfield, fade Armin worked. That was a good way to go.
You started counting your chickens like maybe the Chicago Cubs did last night after they get an Ian Happ grand slam, and then spit up that 3-run lead later into the game and catch a fat L to the Arizona Diamondbacks. We're always a fan of that. We're not a big fan. Not a big fan of the Brewers losing last night in the fashion that they did, and Wade Miley catching one off the kneecap. They're not a big fan of that. What we were big fans of throughout the day, how about Hunter Baumgart getting the call on up to the dinner table yesterday?
That was really great. That was really great. It was great to have Hunter there. It was great to I'm glad Hunter was able to come and enjoy the experience with us. I think he had the Australian flag in his steak there.
He did go Australian. Yeah. Now, I went American, and I felt like I didn't realize that there was an American flag until all of a sudden Andy and Brookfields came out. That's American right there. That's what I'm talking about. There were a lot of good cuts of steak throughout the night. Yeah. However, the thing that really cut the winner was that John Kuhn knife that got brought over just after the steak hit the table. And Tim Scott got very fired up when that steak knife comes over. I think he gets more excited than you got.
That's an exciting moment, and we've had a lot of fun with that over the years. But man, Hunter, I mean, you talk about a guy getting called up to the big leagues for his first game.
Oh yeah,
and not saying a word. He just sat on the end of the bench and just soaked it all in. And hey, we all kind of remember the first time we got called up to something big and
For sure.
exciting and fun. And Hunter was there. You could see him with his wide eyes. He didn't know how to order.
Taking
He
it
didn't
in.
know if he was allowed to order. He
No.
didn't, you know,
Yeah,
he was just
was
sitting
great.
there waiting for instructions. It was fantastic.
It
And
was
I-
great to see him enjoy the
And I
experience.
also then got to slide in something that I've been waiting to consume for quite some time. And I felt cool enough and I felt like it was the right time to finally take the espresso martini order that I've been trying to get myself to order for like the last 2 months. I've been wanting to get there.
You did that. And
I've been wanting to get there.
I wasn't
and I
expecting
sent
that.
it.
It was
Finally sent
it was a power move, Armin.
It
Was it
was
not?
great.
It was
I
a
wa-
power move.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't expecting it from Billy. Now, I know you fairly well, Billy. I think I know what you like to imbibe. But you said it. I was like, wow, Billy's going in with that tonight. I like that.
Testing it out. I've
Why
heard that
not?
it's new. It's the new adult vodka Red Bull.
Everyone loves that
Because-
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I start drinking Red Bull, my heart is beating out of my chest. That espresso last night, fantastic feel.
Well,
Fire this on up
the
throughout
thing
the rest
about
of the evening.
RBVs is when you start drinking them, you just
And you can't
keep
stop.
drinking them. And then
Sweet.
next thing you know, you had 17 Red Bulls and you don't realize that you had 17 Red Bulls. And
Correct.
They kind of offset themselves. So even though you are getting a little tipsy, you are getting a little fired up at the same time.
Amen.
Those espresso martinis, though, they'll creep on you as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Especially once the nightcap happened, and I was like, wait a second. I'm a little bit more energized than I thought I was going to be
Sure.
during a 20-point beatdown of the Golden State Warriors last night, thanks to the Sacramento Kings.
Caught a second winder in that game, which was, wild to see the shell of the Warriors basically in front of us.
Absolute shell.
Yeah,
I mean,
what
like
they
you
used to be.
you see teams and you see dynasties at some particular point in time. We're going to talk about one in the NFL coming on up here because the Patriots dynasty, we already knew it was gone. We already knew it was broken up. We didn't know the animosity that was going to continue for years and apparently different places.
Yeah.
But more on that coming on up. But for the Warriors to fade the way they ended up last night, Lakers end up holding on for dear life in the final stretches of that play-in game. You got a LeBron James team in against the Denver Nuggets. Ooh, tough matchup. The other reason why you go and try to play and win that game, if you're the LA Lakers, John, is because I don't know that I want to mess around with the Sacramento Kings at some particular point in time. They were in a little bit of a free fall for the last couple of weeks. I'm not messing around with a one game and you're out situation just because I'm trying to manipulate a matchup. And the Lakers almost seemed like they were trying to do that later on in the night.
We had some fun with this philosophy of should the Lakers potentially lose so they don't have to play the Denver Nuggets. And this is the Warriors, what they say, that old chart, mess around and find out.
Yeah.
The Warriors
found
did
out.
that.
They
The,
found out.
the Warriors won a lot of games at the end of the season. They came into this play-in tournament hot, but you can see what happens in one game series. Mess around and find out. And now you got a Warriors dynasty. That's done. It's done.
Yeah.
It's over. Steph, Draymond, Clay,
Clay's a free
especially
agent.
Clay,
Yep.
they're done. And I don't know. Is it a sad thing when dynasties go the way of the White Buffalo, or are you guys okay with this?
It's a good question because I think there's levels to the dynasties of like their likability.
Good
I feel
point.
like the Warriors were one of the more likable dynasties over the last couple of years.
Is that
unless you were a
simply
Cavs
because
fan.
of Steph? Because
Mhm.
Draymond's not very likable.
For sure, it's definitely like 98% Steph
And somewhat
and like
Clay,
2% Clay.
somewhat Clay, yeah.
and when Kevin Durant was there, I wouldn't say Kevin Durant's all that likable,
Mhm.
to be honest with you. So, hey, I mean, is Steph just carrying the like card and carrying all these guys with him? Because, quite frankly, you rooted for him the first time they played LeBron. And then as that dynasty started to build
Yeah.
and as it started to go, and it was 3 out of 5, okay, I'm kind of tired of these guys.
Sure.
I'm kind of tired of Draymond dancing around the court and doing everything that he's doing. But I still like Clay.
It's a
He's
great-
still
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah,
And
it's
he's
a
great
great
on the
point.
Subway commercials. He's great on the Allstate commercials. But can he lift all the space? I don't know. Most of those guys just kind of rub me the wrong way.
It's a good question because I feel like in just practice as sports fans, we say we hate the dynasty. However, when there's not one in the league,
Exactly.
you just wonder who can be the next one, right? Does that make sense?
It
Like
makes
you're
perfect
sitting here like
sense.
It's the
wanting
Nuggets.
one. Yeah,
It's the Nuggets.
sure.
They're
Well,
going to be a dynasty.
American sports fans, I think, have always had this conundrum about what they want, right? In terms of dynasties, right? For a while when we don't have dynasties, we, always lament about the lack of them. We used to have dynasties. We used to have great teams that rise and fall. And then when we have too many dynasties, there's the people that say, we want more parity in this league. We're tired of the same old. So then they're always rooting for the dynasty to be beaten. Someone's got to beat the Yankees. Someone's got to beat. Every now and then, though, you get a dynasty that I think people love so much that it becomes part of the era. Like everyone, no one wanted to see Lakers Celtics in the 80s end. That was like, obviously it's two teams,
sure,
but that was an East and West dynasty that everyone really enjoyed seeing, wrestle for power every year. Obviously, we know what the Bulls dynasty was with Jordan, the unprecedented popularity of that one, mostly because of the power of Jordan. I think the Warriors dynasty for younger people was like that. I really do. Now, the Draymond thing is interesting, John. He was probably for some people the most unlikable part of that. But I think the fact is that he was never the main star, right? The main star was Steph and then Clay. And to some extent, Steve Kerr was a likable coach too. So I think that's part of it as well, where people started to enjoy that dynasty, but and how beautiful their brand of basketball seemed to be at the time. But then as you go on, you get bored with the fact that it seemed like no one could beat them. And then it was, wow, people realize they're cheering for LeBron and the Cavs to knock them off here. And that was the other thing. So it is kind of an interesting thing with American sports, how we feel about dynasties.
Well, and you see it. We had Chris in Concrete Truck say the Chicago Blackhawks. Yeah, they were absolutely a dynasty when you look at their 3 cups in 6 years. But we don't necessarily pay attention to that sport as much. Think about it with the Kansas City Chiefs. Right now, they had the change in pop culture attention this year that I think rubbed more people the wrong way.
Sure, absolutely.
However, when the Patriots run was ending, many people looked around and I think the famous call was enjoy because you're never going to see it again. Okay, well then Pat Mahomes is like, hold my beer. We're going to see if we can. We're going to try to do the exact same thing. You believe that it's not going to be able to continue. However, greatness is one thing that continues on. And if you find there is going to be a next great, and I wonder when that rolls through. Jokic, you mentioned with the Nuggets. We'll see if anybody beats them this year. I'm not sold on that one. However, for the NFL comparison to it, you see Kansas City running through, and people were all about them. But I'm looking at one guy here in the studio that later on into the season was not as much a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs. I think there are more guys, John, that were starting to get a little bit more sick and tired of the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift story, the Pat Mahomes storyline, and it just fades through.
It's just funny the way that dynasties work. When they start, you are infatuated with that team and you're so excited that they're there and they're making moves. And a lot of times they have young superstars that are, this could last for a while. And then by the middle to end of the you just change the way you
got to have somebody to hate.
You change the way you feel. Tom Brady, the first couple Super Bowls, you were like, this was great for this guy drafted in the 6th round.
Underdog story.
Kind of beating the greatest show on turf. And wow, can you believe he pulled that off? And he got the tuck rule. Oh my gosh, everything's falling in his favor.
They came out as a team.
And then after 7 of them, you say, gosh, is it rigged? Why does the guy get every call now? Well, it started with them getting all the calls, so it's going to finish with them getting all the calls. I kind of feel the same way about the Chiefs. I really do. I'm so tired of everything falling in their favor time in and time out, and you make your own luck, and Patrick Mahomes is absolutely phenomenal. But man, but has there ever been a dynasty that when it ended, you said, man, I could have used a couple more.
Could have used a couple more, because you either die the hero or you live long enough to become the villain. And at some particular point, as many people on Talking Text Line are saying, hey, I love 10 or 20 year dynasties. As long as it's a Wisconsin team.
As long as it's our team.
If it's not our team, I'm going to hate it at some point.
It's funny, but it's true. I mean, everyone loves it when it's their team. And obviously, you want your own team. I think the one, John, is the Bulls. That's the one they made a whole documentary about The Last Dance. That's the one. That's one of the remaining questions is, why didn't they stay together? So I think for a lot of people in the American sports landscape, it's the Bulls, because some people feel like it didn't die a natural death.
Okay, so
maybe that's the other part of it. It's got to die
here
natural
in Wisconsin,
death.
Armin, during the Bulls dynasty. I lived in Pennsylvania, where it felt like the entire nation was a Bulls fan.
Sure,
except for Salt Lake City, for the last 2 championships, except for Phoenix area for a little while. except for maybe LA in the first. Other than the teams that they faced in their immediate city, it felt like the entire country was behind Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Was that the case here? Because I know the way that this state feels about Chicago teams. Was that the case here, even with Jordan?
I think it was. I really do. I think maybe, and I was younger, so maybe I didn't experience it, but everyone kind of revered that group, that Jordan Bulls group. It's not like we were necessarily fans of them in terms of like, oh, we're diehard Bulls fans now, but everyone wanted to watch them play and watch them, and most of the time watch them win. Most of that was, Jordan, obviously, but I think so. And the Bucks, you were really struggling if you were a Bucks fan at that time to get anyone to take you seriously. I was always a Bucks fan growing up. I would follow the team every year. I was always looking up rosters. I'd listen to every game on the radio because not every game was on TV back then. So I was listening to. So I was really following them, hoping for them, struggling to make a playoff seed one time through the 90s. The 95 and when Vin Baker and Glenn Robinson and then Ray started. So, as a Bucks fan, you're struggling through that period, but none of my friends were. I mean, people would laugh at me all the time when I'm like, the Bucks are going to be better this year and this and that. And it was always like, oh, the Bucks stink, Armin, ha, ha, ha. Like they knew I cared and I would get all mad about it. So that was it, John. It was Bulls all the time.
This is before the B Milwaukee years, which were even worse.
Yeah, and it changed in the early 2000s, but through those 90s Bulls years,
our team, our town.
I think it was, John.
I just remember Edgar Bennett telling me about back then. He would even drive to Chicago to watch Bulls games.
It was the biggest show in town.
That's how big the Bulls were then. They would drive all the way to Chicago twice. And this is pre-social media. So imagine if it happened now. Imagine Jordan Love and the team coming down to see the Celtics, to talk, to wait post game to
see Jason Tatum,
to see Holiday, to see Brown, to see that team. They're waiting after the game not to meet Giannis and talk to Giannis and Dame, but they're to see those guys.
And a lot of it's
that
Jordan,
would be seen as blasphemy in this state, but not then, not in the 90s, not for Jordan's Bulls.
Well, yeah, and I think that might be the one of one that was the most influential sports star of all time. Is that decent for me? Given my
you're absolutely right, and it didn't help, John. The Bucks were never and Billy. The Bucks were never a contender during those years either. It wasn't like they were a rival in terms of they're screwing us out of a playoff bid every year. The Bucks were never a contender, so you didn't even look at them as in the same class. Unfortunately, as the Bucks, so it didn't affect you as a fan rivalry wise that way.
I also wonder if this was one of the reasons why more people enjoyed those Jordan dynasties, because Dan and Elkhorn makes a good one. I'm a fan of dynasties, either cheering for them or rooting against them. But the only one I was really happy to see end was the Detroit Pistons. I like Joe Dumars, but despised everyone else on that team, especially Isaiah. They were so hated.
People hated the Pistons.
And for them to be the team that ended up slaying that beast, maybe that was a little something to it.
And they were like they were, I don't say underdog, but they were kind of like the plucky underdog that eventually overcame them. What everyone saw as the bullies that played dirty, the Pistons, and people liked it. It was Jordan and it was the Bulls, but that dynasty didn't die a natural death like the Patriots did, like the Warriors are doing. I think that's what it is too. I think people want to see how far it can really go when it's stretched to its limit, and then they can say, okay, we saw how good it could be. There's always going to be those people that wonder about the Bulls.
2 years ago, we thought we were going to have a dynasty.
I don't like to bring that up.
Aaron Nagler on Twitter at Armin Sarian Dakun J30's question. Yes, absolutely. My friends and I were all diehard Wisconsin sports fans, but love Jordan's Bulls.
Yeah, listen. There's a beauty in seeing what the extent to the limit that a team could take it. There's a beauty in that, right? I mean, the 60s Packers were even that way when all those guys in the 68 and 69, 70 were retiring and having their. You and your friends were looking around. Yeah,
I don't know.
That, but I'm just saying the old heads could tell you that's what it was. And you knew
what was Packer Twitter like back then, huh?
It was a hotbed. It was wild.
I'm sure
it was crazy.
I'm sure
this man was a part of it.
It was nuts down at Drift In or whatever everyone had on. That's what Packers Twitter was.
Over at the Bay Motel. I think that's the place that
maybe
you want to go enjoy.
But you want to see it die a natural death. And that's what's happening right now with the Warriors, right? So
Twitter was hot last night as the Warriors went down. Klay Thompson maybe going out as a Golden State Warrior with a Tony Snell stat line, 0 of 10 from the field, 0 of 6 from 3. Looking like me starting out my betting into the NBA playoffs. Tough way to start. However, it's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. We started hot. We're going to finish even better. It's John Kuhn, Billy Schmidt, Armin Sarian with all of you at 414-799-1973. We'll welcome Matt Schneidman into the conversation. Coming up at 10 o'clock, we'll talk some NFL draft with Schneidman, talk some off-season voluntary program, and some $700,000 that might be worth getting Jair Alexander in, as well as have we firmed up? Have we firmed up the date for Sunday in the club, in the suite with John Kuhn and Matt Schneidman? People are asking. People want to know. It's a wide open Wednesday. We're providing all those answers. And I had an issue last night when I got home from the beautiful, exquisite carnivore dinner that I think many of our listeners have dealt with on a wide open Wednesday. It's 9 to noon on the Game. It's 9 to noon on the game. Armin Sarian playing a fantastic song to tell Pacers fans what's happening. You're going down, down, down. According to 530 area code, who said Bucks are still getting it done in 6 over the Indiana Pacers, allowing Giannis to rest for not round 2. My man says round 3. He's taking it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals with the Giannis rest. Now, Armin, that's what I'm talking about on sheer confidence. The confidence for Bucks fans on this talking text line seemingly only have area codes that are not either 414-262-920-608. Anything outside of the state of Wisconsin, people are way more optimistic about the Bucks, it appears.
Is that because they don't watch the games? No, I'm happy about that. I'm glad
you
they
are spicy today. Holy cow.
Unnamed in the 530.
Must be those clams I ate or whatever I ate last night.
530 area code, northeastern portion of California, including Alpine, Butte College.
Oh, it's Aaron.
Calusa,
It's Aaron.
El Dorado, Glen,
Holy
Mono, Modoc. I don't know how to
Mono,
say that.
California. That sounds
Yuba,
like
Yolo, and Trinity, and Tahama.
I spent a month there one night. No, I don't know. No, listen, I
think
think
Mono lasts longer than a night.
We
think
got listeners
confidence is
tuning
good.
in from California, Armin, because they're optimistic
I love
on this
it.
Bucks team and Dame being able to carry this Bucks
He's
team
watched a
past
lot of
the Pacers.
Dame.
Then I watched those
He has
games
watched
on
a lot of
balance.
He
Dame.
has what? Maybe he's a Dame fan,
Could be.
converted Bucks fan. Anyway,
Which I
we'll
like.
take it.
We'll
Yeah.
take it. Which I like, which means he has confidence in playoff Dame, which I think we're all hoping manifests itself come playoff time. Look, here's the thing. I'm hopeful. You know, I'm a positive thinker, guys, no doubt about it. But I think
I've heard that before.
I don't think these are the days when we can expect to waltz into the Eastern Conference Finals anymore. I mean, am I wrong in saying that? I don't think those are the days. I do believe we can beat the Pacers. I don't believe it's a lost cause. I'm not eulogizing the Bucks like it seems like 75% of the Bucks fans bases. Okay, I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm not joking around how they can't win a game in the playoffs. But I don't think it's as easy as, hey, let's get them rested for 2 series and worry about it once the big game. I mean, this isn't like a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. You know what I'm saying, playing Grambling or something like that. The reality is it's going to be tough. Now, here's the thing. I don't know where the confidence, that strong a confidence comes from the, Sacramento area. Maybe those are Kings fans. Are those that Sacramento?
Who could just be living the best life. Now, I don't know why.
Life.
I don't know why Milwaukee legend and head coach of the Grambling State Tigers got stray right there by Utante Jackson, but that's fine.
No.
That's fine.
I love what
Milwaukee
Grambling,
legend. That's fine.
I love what Grambling does. I love that they made the tournament. All that. The reality is they're always at 16. What do you want me to do?
I'm just messing with you.
I
Kings
know.
fans though are having a night. Now, last night Nick Wright was having a night.
Mhm.
Now, Nick Wright is one of my favorite sports talkers in the country. Might be the top of the list at this particular
he's
moment.
aggressive. You
Could-
like that?
I love the agitator, John. I love the fact that he was going into Twitter Spaces last night, fighting with Warrior fans who said the only way
Should I find
that the
one of those?
Warriors are going to get better, the only way the Warriors are going to figure this thing out, fire Steve Kerr. Not get rid of 39-year-old Chris Paul, who said, by the way, it's not over yet. I'm playing next year. Not here. We're going to find you never. Soft. Wake up the kids and his wife at home while just burying these people. I absolutely
Burying.
love that this app is still free. It's one of the craziest parts about it.
Well, and you'll get Nick to come out of the woodworks anytime the Lakers and the Chiefs do anything.
Yeah, good point. Yes.
Anytime
yes,
the Lakers,
LeBron or Pat Mahomes
LeBron,
does
Patrick
something. Yeah.
Mahomes, he will come out of the woodworks to let you know why they're alive, why they're kicking, and why everybody else being compared to them absolutely stinks. You bring up a good point with Chris Paul. Chris Paul, 39 years old. LeBron James, 40 years old. These guys look like they're just going to play forever. And with the Olympics coming to LA in 4 years, you would think maybe they would play that long.
That's a long time, but I mean, even for LeBron, it doesn't seem like he's showing any signs of slowing down.
I mean,
And Billy
so-
reminds me every day about it.
but how do
Tough,
you,
dude.
but how do
Doesn't
you
look like he's going to stink.
He
are
is
you
good.
guys cool with LeBron at 40 years old being on the Olympics team?
Sure,
That's
yes.
a great question.
I am.
I
Sorry.
am. Maybe the other auxiliary pieces I'm a little bit skeptical about. However, I'm a LeBron stan, so I'm not going to be that upset about it because I don't know that there was a better substitution for him on the Olympic team.
How many Olympic teams has this been for him now?
Ooh,
Is it
six?
6? That's what I was
I
thinking.
think he was out the last time they went. Don't believe he played on the last one.
I mean, even the dream team had your token college guy, right?
Mhm.
Like the actual
Sure.
dream team, Christian Leitner.
Yeah.
And goodness gracious, did everybody hate that? But should there
Should've
not
been
be?
Shaq.
Should there not be a couple of college guys on the end of the bench?
Oh, it's different
One
now,
or
John.
two?
The college guys now aren't college stars for a long time. They're going to the pros or going to G League Ignite. I mean, there are
Which is
college
dead
stars like you could put Zach Edey in. You mean like put Zach Edey in there? Somebody like that, like
Is he gonna be on the
established-
Canadian team?
Just
Well,
one.
he is actually. What am I thinking? He's Canadian, so forget that. But if there was,
like Joel Embiid.
Like Joel Embiid, who got his citizenship a year and a half ago and is on the Olympic team.
He's got 3 options
Yeah.
to play on: Cameroon, Canada, and USA. He's like, I think I'm going to go on the winning team.
Yeah, I'm gonna get.
Go
I'm
to the winning
gonna get
team.
me a goal. This is literally.
which he did, which
create-
Hakeem did that same thing.
But
go
this
ahead.
is, but he is. I mean, this is taking the script right out of the NBA. Get me a big 3. Forget the big 3. Give me a big 12
Big
to
12,
go into
yes.
the Olympics with.
So this would be LeBron's 4th Olympics. Gold in 08 and 12.
redeem, right?
Bronze, the bronze in 04 when they all embarrassed himself and he was the young token kid on that team as the 19-year-old. But I thought the Olympic team was almost more fascinating by the plug-in of Drew Holiday and the aforementioned Damian Lillard not being a part of the Olympic team. I understand why with Drew Holiday playing a lot of defense there, but that was an upset. Dame was the starting point guard 4 years ago when they went and won that gold medal. Very interesting change right there.
Interesting,
Unless it
yeah.
was a decision by one Damian Lillard.
Could you imagine Giannis playing on the U.S. team?
I mean, I'd love to see it, but I know he would. It would,
He would never do
He's
it.
so passionate about
would
playing
never
for
do
the
it.
Greek team. Now, speaking of getting someone fired up, ask Trey how he feels about Giannis playing the Olympics and in FIBA.
Yeah, not a big fan.
But the
of it.
reality is, these guys care, and these guys are passionate about it, and they're going to do
I
it.
mean, do they? Who do you think cares the most? Do you think Kawhi Leonard cares? That
Not
he's
a
kinda,
chance
he's
in
kinda
hell.
spot?
Europeans care is my point. That Europeans care the most.
Yeah, Giannis cares.
Jokic cares. Europeans, they're very passionate about playing for their national team. I agree. I don't think Kawhi feels the same way about it. Now he's a. Now
I
he's
also
kind
don't
of a
know why
different cat.
Kawhi's on the team, to be completely honest with you. Does anybody think in the middle of July Kawhi Leonard's going to say, you know what?
I would love to play. And be
I'd love to
healthy.
play 35 minutes
And
tonight.
play
Well,
hard.
he
yeah.
just completed his first year of solid health in how many years? A decade?
Kawhi?
Yeah.
The one that just sat out 8 games and he's like, yeah, man, my knees.
Yeah, but this
swollen,
was one of
guys.
the. Yeah,
My
but
knees
I said
swollen."
these are Kawhi standards.
True,
Right.
100%.
By
And that's
Kawhi
why I'm saying,
standards,
like,
by Kawhi standards, this was a healthy
Jeez.
season.
let's find somebody else than Kawhi Leonard who all of a sudden I imagine they probably report, say, July 27th. My over-under is July 25th that Kawhi Leonard decides, hey, fellas, I'm not going to be there. Sorry. I'm just not going to be there. Oh, okay, sick. Appreciate it, Kawhi. Thanks. That works out for us.
I agree. I don't think it's a guy you can necessarily count on, which is one reason.
Can't count on Joel Embiid.
Well, that's another weird situation. Is he playing for Cameroon? I mean,
He's playing for the U.S.
He's playing for the U.S. because this is what Hakeem did in '93 because he was on the '92 Dream Team, which he very well could have been good enough wise, but he wasn't a naturalized citizen yet. So he became that in '93. So he'd be eligible for '96 to play in Dream Team, I guess 2 or whatever they called it back then. So look, this is always another interesting angle to this whole thing.
Mhm.
I mean, Marquette alum Luke Fisher played on the Armenian national team. Now, Luke Fisher's not
Shout
Armenian.
out.
Shout out Germantown High.
Shout
Come on now.
out. That's what
I'm
I'm
just making
Let's
a
go
point.
Germantown High School.
Everything out
Oh,
he can possibly go.
Yes, but I'm just making a point that these guys will just pick up citizenship to play for these national teams that they have no other prior affiliation with as an actual descendant.
Didn't he play there for a while, though? Luke?
Luke played on the Armenian national team for a while. Yes.
Yeah, but didn't he play professionally over there?
No.
No?
He played in Europe.
Okay.
Trust me, you don't want to play in Armenian domestic league.
Are you kidding me? I heard it was a great
I
league.
don't even know if they even have one now, and to be honest with you. But
That's a sad
no,
deal.
it is
That's a sad state
well,
of affairs.
maybe one day I'll start that. But my point being, guys will play wherever
Commissioner
they can.
Armin Sarian of the
They don't-
Armenian
they don't
basketball
have a
league.
domestic league in Armenia. No, they
But
don't.
we're working on it.
Well,
We're
yeah.
working on bringing them
Armin's
a
gonna
domestic
make it
league. We're going to make that happen. 414-799-1973.
I know a couple guys. Yeah,
There you go. You know a couple of guys.
right.
Like Robert Kraft knows the owner of the Atlanta Falcons and apparently had a nice conversation with him. Not very nice for one Bill Belichick. ESPN blowing the roof off of the Bill Belichick story. And it starts in Atlanta, has tentacles out to Dallas. reaching Philadelphia. And is anybody going to reach out to Bill Belichick after this? We'll discuss it, and probably not. John Coons right there. I'm Billy Schmid. Armin Sarian's here as well, and you're at 414-799-1973. It's 9 to noon on the game. Hey guys, Billy Schmid, and last night the Underdog Fantasy app was popping during the play-in game, starting out in the Western Conference for the NBA tonight, Eastern Conference. It'll be the same. It's the NBA Pick'em game. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy, you can win real cash money with a fantasy game. It's that easy. All you got to do is go download the app using my promo code Billy, Billy, and Underdog Fantasy is going to match your first deposit of 10 or more bucks up to 100, plus give you a special mystery pick to use on your first pick'em game. This is how the pick'em game works. You go to the Underdog Fantasy app. You select between 2 and 5 players in one game, multiple games. Select higher or lower on a player's stats, and if your picks hit, you can win real money any given night. It's legal in Wisconsin, and it makes the NBA playoffs, play-in games so much more fun. The best part is the Underdog Fantasy app is the easiest app you'll have on your phone. Go download it right now using my promo code Billy, Billy. First deposit of 10 or more bucks up to 100 matched. Plus, you're going to get your special mystery pick just for using my promo code Billy to use on your first pick entry. Must be 18 years and older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or go to www.ncpgambling.org. 9 to noon on the game. Match Nyman stops by in 12 minutes from right now. Talk some Packers draft and off-season workouts and such, and more around the NFL. And this morning, ESPN, thanks to Don Van Natta Jr., Seth Wickersham, and Jeremy Fowler for the full-scale reporting on the story today that's headlined, gentlemen, voted off the island. Now, this is not Survivor with Trey and Cooner right now.
I thought we were getting into it now. Have you caught up yet?
I did not get a chance to yesterday. I did not get a chance to yesterday. No, I'm testing it out today before, because tonight is when
tonight's
it goes live, right?
Tonight's the something crazy is going to happen tonight. They said they've never seen a dismissal quite like tonight.
They always do this. They do the same thing in Bachelor. Something happened that's
most dramatic.
This is not The Bachelor. This doesn't get stretched over 3 hours of fake drama. This is real.
Okay,
this is Survivor.
This is more real. Fair enough. All right.
I'm fired up. I'm excited. I've never watched Survivor in my life, and I'm gonna decide that this is now when I'm gonna get into it. Probably halfway through, right? More than halfway through.
So 46 seasons. You haven't watched one episode.
Not one episode.
Man.
So I'm excited for it.
I got into Survivor freshman year of college. Kicked out of one dorm, sent to another.
Whoa!
Oh yeah,
you got kicked out of the dorm?
Yeah.
RAs, man. RAs.
We did. We had one of those RAs, much like an Armin Sarian.
No, I wouldn't kick you
knock
out.
on our door one day, and
you would have liked me as your RA.
Start some trouble. And my roommate got kicked out of school. I just got kicked out of the dorm.
Yo, man, yikes! You gonna tell us what happened, John?
I'm not going to.
Right. And so I was forced to move to a new dorm, and
yikes.
Funny they didn't know. I
put
was
you in solitary.
Well, how about this? When you go to college, let me say something.
Okay.
Don't pick the honors dorm. I thought I was being a good kid.
That was a mistake.
Me and my roommate, we
that
talked ahead of time. We met, and he was from Maryland. And,
we're gonna take this seriously, man.
Your grades are good, right? Yeah, so are mine. Maybe we just stay in the honors dorm. It won't be loud. It'll be terrible idea.
Yeah,
terrible idea to go to the honors dorm because no fun allowed.
I like where your thought process was.
I was thinking, hey, when we want to call it a night, we call it a night.
Yep.
But the problem is we could never have a night in the honors dorm. One. So I was forced to move to
a lot of good Yahtzee being played.
But the crazy thing is, then they sent me from the honors dorm because we had trouble.
Mm-hmm.
To the party dorm, which made absolutely
way
no
more
sense.
Fun.
Hey, wait, you want to take a guy, you want to correct him, but you're taking him from the strictest dorm in there and sending him to the loosest goosest of all dorms.
They said just put him over there and we don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, and we don't have to deal with it. So
here's get some drinking violation tickets.
Yeah, that's what it was in college, Armin. I'm not gonna lie. Jungle Juice,
everybody.
Jungle Juice, 30 Rocks, everything.
Damn right.
I mean, that's the way it was.
Yep.
So RB30 is here. RB Shippensburg is here. What was your screen name or whatever?
RB for ship. Get it right.
Come on, dude. What are we talking about?
Still use it on everything I possibly can today. It's still my Peloton name. So hey, that thing
if you see me on that leaderboard,
created 24 years ago. I should have trademarked the damn thing. Anyways, so
RB4ship@hotmail.com.
So they send me to Noggle, which is I was in McCune, which was the honors dorm. They sent me to Noggle, and now I'm rooming. Here, get this. Talk about ruining somebody else's day. I had to room with an RA, Armin. They sent me from the honors dorm to the party dorm, had to stay in the same room as an RA.
That does stink.
Oh. Little did they know this RA was different. This RA would go pick stuff up for us. He would go pick stuff up for us.
Oh, okay.
He was a career RA'er. He was 22 years old, so he could go pick us up.
Guy right there.
Yeah. And he's who got me onto Survivor. He created Survivor drinking games, and Survivor 1 started in 2000. And that was when I started college, and that's how I got into Survivor.
So was this a regular straight dorm room with the RA? Like the one? Oh, so I was wondering like if this was a little sweet situation that you guys had. No, you were just one
straight up dorm room with the RA. I'm walking into this thinking, man, this is gonna be terrible.
Turned
out to be great. Yeah, he was amazing. He was 22. He was 4 years older than me. He got us everything that we wanted, and he turned me on Survivor. So think about that, Armin. Had I not got kicked out of the honors dorm, I'd have never started watching Survivor.
You'd never been in this.
Lindsay would have never started watching Survivor. My kids would have never started watching Survivor. So because of that one incident, it's a big part in our life now.
You have him.
I love the spiderweb. Now I'm gonna watch Survivor.
Okay, that's nice. Just because of that
you're not buying it, huh?
No, I think you might start watching it at some point.
I'm gonna test it out. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm interested. I'm really interested in the backstory on this from Leon Armin's dad on the Talking Text line.
Oh no.
My college roommate should have been kicked out of school.
Oh, okay, good.
Failed every course first semester.
I'm glad he didn't talk about me. Yeah, I think Dad did tell me that once. He just didn't like his college roommate or something like that. He not that he didn't like him, but this guy just cooked himself out of Hopkins the first year. This is my dad's at Johns. My dad's at Johns Hopkins, and this guy just like the first semester just failed everything and left.
No, I got good grades.
Yeah.
I just got pushed out of the dorm. Not allowed in the dorm.
Listen, that sounds like the RA ship that I was hoping to have if I would have been able to get through the issues. If I would have been able to get through that first week, man, that could have been so much better. That 8 days, though, that was a test. 414-799-1973. All right, let's get into Match Diamond on the other side of this break.
Yeah.
We're going to get into it.
I like that. That's good. That's good that we're going to do that.
Armin's dad says, shall I call? Shall at 10:25. 10:25, you're calling in, and we're going to get that story. Because we need more of these stories about Screener.
I'm gonna screen his call for Dad. Let's just
Screener Sarian is going to be on the case there.
We'll see if it's worthy for air.
Okay. Wow, worthy for air. My man is spicy today. You're not going to want to miss the next 2 hours. Match Diamond, always a trip when he joins 9 to noon, and it's next with Kuhn, Billy, and Armin on the game. Hour 2, 9 to noon, brought to you by Happy Place Hemp and happyplacehemp.com. Don't just go to the gas station. Don't do that. Go to happyplacehemp.com and get locally and legally made hemp products right here in the state of Wisconsin. You shop local for everything else. Why would you not do it for your hemp products? They do it in Muskego, Wisconsin. If you use promo code Billy at happyplacehemp.com, Rob and Chris, they make everything there locally in-house. And you can even go stop in and talk to them over off College Avenue at their storefront, or just go to happyplacehemp.com and get your CBD, CBN gummies, Sleepy Time gummies, Delta 8 gummies, also tinctures as well. If the gummy is not what you're looking for, or more importantly, you just don't want the extra calories, you can do that over at Happy Place Hemp and happyplacehemp.com. Now joining us in a gorgeous New York Yankees flat brim 5950, it appears, is our guy Matt Schneidman from, as I put my glasses on so I can actually see here.
A little curve in the hat, though, you know.
Is my man's in the car? Are you in the moving truck? Nice sunroof there, Schneids. What's happening, boss?
Yeah, not a flat brim. I can't quite rock a flat brim, so this is just a fitted cap like the guys wear. So I'm basically part of the team.
You
guys,
are. Yep.
Nice stash, though. You're working on that stash.
Yeah, I just left the gym actually because I normally on Wednesday morning errands from my apartment, but I went to the gym, forgot it was Wednesday, and literally right as I got to the gym, Armin texted me, "You good for 10?" Normally do an hour workout, got there around 8:45, so I said, I don't have enough time to get home, still got my workout in, so I'm actually in a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot right now.
Oh, Dunkin'
What you
Donuts,
getting?
good spot.
Yeah.
What did I get?
What are you ordering?
I got avocado toast, no bacon, and then a sourdough breakfast sandwich and two stuffed everything bagels, minis with cream cheese.
Carb loading.
Yeah,
okay,
no
I see
bacon, though. What's
Those sourdough
sourdough
sandwiches.
What's a Wednesday workout look like? Is that an arm day? Is that a gun day?
I did some upper body today. Normally I do push, pull, and legs. Each of those 2 days a week.
Category
Off day, but my schedule's kind of been, thrown in the mixer this week because I closed on a house yesterday. I've been busy, so it's
let's go, Matty. All right, congrats, buddy.
New houses, new cars, and a lot of gym time for Matt Schneidman.
Cars. This is an old car, the one I've had since 2017.
I do feel good that my reminder text actually worked. Like when I send the reminder text, I'm like, does he need this? Am I wasting his time with the reminder text?
It's always about you, huh?
I do. It doesn't make me feel good, and in this case, it was. It's about the show too, but yeah, mostly me.
So, Matt, as you're getting that workout in, you're closing on the house. We're very, very proud of you. Hopefully no mice in the house. We can talk off the air about that potential issue. However, as you sit right now, 8 days away from the NFL draft, do you have all the ducks in a row? Are we going to be able to get everything moved in time for you to saddle up next week, just dialed in from, say, like Tuesday on, when all the information starts becoming real and not all BS, for you to roll through and be ready for picks coming up on Thursday night?
Oh, I'll be ready. I don't know if I'll get everything moved in. I have my studio apartment for another 2 weeks.
Good timing by you.
Yeah. I had to pay a decent to break the lease because my lease doesn't end until August 31st. But yeah, I'll be locked. I'm ready to go. Work comes first, moving comes second. So I'm ready to go. Matt Schneidman should be back next Tuesday. Tim Scott said, "Hey, can you do a one-night Matt Schneidman show to preview the draft next Tuesday?" I said, "Of course." So back for one night and one night only by very unpopular demand next Tuesday night.
Hey,
no, big popular demand by us. Yeah, we needed it. We're ready for it. So as you're getting closer and closer to it, is there any more of a feeling or a lean that you have as to what Thursday night looks like? The only thing that I can really feel, Matt, in my heart of hearts, is the Packers are making a move on Thursday night. I don't know whether that's up or down. It just feels like they're going to get an itchy trigger finger. He always does in the first round.
Yeah, always. I mean, I have no idea what position, who they're going to pick. I infamously went on NBC 26 here in town before the 2020 draft and said there's a 0% chance they draft a quarterback. Then they took Jordan Love.
It's a good welcome to the market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, listen, Brian Gutekunst has been in charge for 6 drafts, and only once in those 6 drafts has he just stayed put with his only first-round pick. I think I went through this last week, but 2018 traded back, then back up to get Jair. 2019 traded up from his second selection to get Savage. 2020 traded up to get Love. 2021 was the year he stayed put for Stokes at 29. 2022, he added another first-round pick in the Devontae trade. 2023, he moved up a little bit in the Rodgers trade. So he always loves moving and not just sticking with what he has. And the Packers, I believe, are tied for the most selections in the draft with 11. They have 5 picks between 25 and 91. So they have some flexibility to move around, maybe give up one of those 3rd or 4th round picks to get up in the first round. My natural instinct is to say I expect some sort of movement on Thursday night.
Matt, top 30 visits here for the Green Bay Packers. People saying Cooper DeJean's not one of those top 30 visits. Is there any correlation we can make between the guys that come in and visit the team? Goody gets to see him, talk with them. Do we have any data from past years on if top 30 visits are more or less likely to get drafted?
I haven't done a deep dive into that. I'm sure someone has out there. But listen, top 30 visits can mean it's a guy you're really interested in and want to learn a little bit more about him. It could just be a guy that's further down your draft board and you're missing a little bit of medical information, so you want to bring him in to do that yourself. Top 30 visits aren't just for like the top 30 guys you're interested in. Like, it's not just the top 30 guys on your big board. There are different reasons for it. I'm sure there's some sort of correlation. I did see Cooper DeJean only had 4 days worth, I think Rappaport said, of availability to do top 30 visits, and the Packers were not one of them. I wouldn't read too much into that. You know, I was at the furniture store the other day getting some furniture over in Pulaski, Furnitureland, and some of the workers there were like, "We got Cooper DeJean?" I said, you know, this seems like one of those instances where too many people are projecting it. Like, it just seems too good to be true for the Packers.
He'll 100% be on the board, John, at 25. There's no chance they take it.
That's what Jackson Smith and Jigbo was last year. It's like,
right.
You spend this entire draft process. I think Armin said this last week. The entire draft process, you know, pegging these guys to the Packers. We don't think they're going to get there. They're there, and then they pass on them. So that's Cooper DeJean is going to be there at 25, and he's not going to be the 25th pick to the Packers.
Matt Schneidman hanging out with us here on 9 to noon. And now I think the Packers are going to draft multiple offensive linemen, not only because I want them to, but I think they absolutely want to. Now, your office mate, Rob Demovsky, spoke on radio last week, said some information that he has and some stories and some validation from people in the building about their belief in Zach Tom. I'm not going to ask you of all, you know, your knowledge of it. However, do you think some of that could be leaning towards them going offensive tackle instead of more interior guy coming up in the draft if they think that's the primary competition for Josh Myers coming up in camp is Zach Tom?
Well, they need both. Even if they have a vacancy at right tackle, they still might need a right guard. They still need depth on the interior. What does Brian Gutekunst love more than maybe his children is an offensive lineman that can play multiple positions, that can play guard and tackle. Elton Jenkins was a center in college, but can play everywhere. Zach Tom was a center in college and a left tackle, but can play everywhere. They need these guys who can play inside and outside. They like these guys who can play inside and outside. I have no reason to doubt what Rob said on the radio last week. I wonder, though, because they were so complimentary of Josh Myers last year, is it, okay, we think Zach Tom can, and it's just getting the best 5 available. And if the best 5 is still Zach at right tackle, we'll play him there. I'll be fascinated to see what they do. Zach Tom can certainly play center. Brian Gutekunst has said on the record he liked Zach Tom at center most coming out of college, so it's no secret they think he can work there. But yes, I definitely think they'll take multiple offensive linemen. Goody took 3 O-linemen in 2020, 3 in 2021, 3 in 2022, then none last year. They not only need a swing tackle to replace Yosh Nijman, a potential starter at tackle, a potential starter at right guard. They need depth. Royce Newman's their interior depth right now. Their tackle depth is Luke Tenuta and Caleb Jones. They need to triple up, maybe even quadruple up on the offensive line this year.
I love the sound of that. And John, we talk about it being BS season and everyone's trying to pump stuff and narratives around all 31 other teams. But like when teams say some stuff like that to a Rob Demovsky or Matt Schneidman and want that kind of stuff out, I always wonder if they're also sending messages inside of the locker room to certain players like that. Cause I think they're sending a pretty loud message to Josh Myers right now, by letting him go into the final year of his contract, right? Like, so I mean, like there's ways of being able to say, we appreciate and know that you got better last year. However, we do still need a little bit more because we think that there's possibilities on this team that can be replaced.
And Matt, you correct me if I'm wrong. He's not going into the season yet. He could sign an extension all the way up through training camp. And do you expect that to happen?
I haven't heard anything on that, but just my gut instinct is no, I don't think he would. I view it as a John Runyon Jr. situation where, yeah, he's been solid. You know, Myers specifically last year, if we're to believe what Stenavich and LaFleur have said about him, but I don't think he's been good enough where you say, okay, he's earned a contract extension before the season. Like Runyon, it could be a situation where they let him play out his contract year and then, hey, we appreciate your services. You were solid. You were available, but we can get cheaper and younger at the position. So that's kind of the route I expect them to go.
Do you think there is a potential offensive line makeup that we're not seeing here? Like, could there be a shift in where guys are playing this year?
You know, it was either at owners' meetings or the combine where Goody kind of implied he wanted to keep Zach Tom and Elton Jenkins kind of where they found a home at. And I'm sure Adam Stenavich has talked about it as well. Like, you don't want to keep moving guys around, even though they can. So my instinct is to say, oh, they're just going to keep Zach Tom at right tackle, keep Elton Jenkins at left guard. I think Rasheed Walker is going to be the left tackle, but I think everything else is up for grabs if, you know, we're to believe what Rob reported, and I have no reason not to believe it. So I've been caught off guard by many a thing this team has done. And we hear them say all the time, it's just about getting your best five out there. So if they think their best five is Rasheed Walker, left tackle, Elton Jenkins, left guard, Zach Tom, center, someone they draft at right guard, and someone they draft at right tackle with Josh Nijman and Josh Myers, or not Josh Nijman, with Josh Myers on the bench, then who knows? That could happen. Sean Ryan, too. Sean Ryan's a big question mark because he didn't really play that much last year. Yeah, he split snaps with Runyon, but Runyon said that was partially because he was battling injuries. So is he a guy that's going to take a hold of that right guard job, or is he going to be a 6th, 7th guy off the bench?
Matt Schneidman hanging out with us, just a couple of more minutes. Coming up on Monday at 10 a.m., you're going to hear Brian Gutekunst live from the podium as he has his pre-draft visit. We're not going to be able to visit with you beforehand. Do you have a couple of things holstered up as to what you would like to start asking? Will any of this be off of the draft? Will there be anything about organized team activities, Jair Alexander, showing on up for 700,000, or will this strictly be draft conversation on Monday for you guys?
I'd imagine it's strictly draft conversation. There hasn't really been anything new that's developed since we talked to him a couple weeks ago in Orlando. I would argue that this is the most useless press conference of the year. I'll still be there. I'll still go. I'm glad, happy for the availability. But a general manager speaking before the draft about his draft plans that
awesome.
He never, ever divulge, it's just useless.
Speaking of important guys and useless speaking, is there any piece of you? It used to be whenever Aaron Rodgers talked, it was news, right? But when you see a video pop up of him now on Twitter, are you just kind of like, I'm not even bothering with that anymore? Or are you still curious? Do you still feel the journalistic duty to consume everything he's saying just because it's still Aaron Rodgers? Or is that not anymore because he's not a Packer? I'm really curious about that, Matt. What goes through your head because I'm always like, do I need to be watching this stuff anymore just out of curiosity? We used to do that a lot, right?
And what was the stuff that you're referencing here?
It's just whatever comes up on Twitter, whatever podcast Aaron's on touting, whatever conspiracy theory. I'm just curious. What do you think?
I saw he said something yesterday. What was it? The government created HIV or something?
So I don't know.
In the 80s, yeah.
Something like that. I didn't watch the video, but that's what people were saying. Yeah.
I didn't see it. I've been asked multiple times over the past year, aren't you glad you don't have to watch McAfee every Tuesday? First of all, I really enjoy watching the show. I still watch it every day.
That's because you're a part of the show.
Yeah.
Well,
you're an official cast member.
Of the program.
Yeah.
You look sweet, dude.
Sweet, dude.
Buddies with Ty, and I actually met Pat and the whole crew, and AJ was there down in Orlando at the owners' meetings for the first time. And
wow, hanging out.
Entertainment. I think.
Where'd you guys go? Did you go get
nowhere.
Drink somewhere?
They were just having lunch in the middle of the day in the lobby of the Ritz-Carlton after they finished their show live on location.
So you ruined their lunch. You spoiled their lunch.
No, on my way to do. Well, did I spoil their lunch? Maybe. Who knows?
You probably made it way better, Matt. Probably made it way better, brighten their entire day.
People have asked me, aren't you glad you don't have to watch Aaron every Tuesday? I still watch for the entertainment value and because I don't have, much else to do at that time of the day. But
Same.
I think the big difference is that I don't have to worry about like asking him about it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, like he can say whatever he wants. It doesn't bother me. It's not, I don't have to cover him anymore. Covering Aaron Rodgers for the most part was amazing because guess what? He generates views.
Yep.
He's relevant. He's newsworthy. And what do you want as a beat writer, as a radio personality, is to have the team you cover be relevant. And Aaron Rodgers is the most newsworthy, relevant player in the NFL. So I have nothing bad to say about how Aaron treated me. He was great to me. He was great to cover. The only thing is like when the Jimmy Kimmel stuff happened, when this happened, it's like, do I owe it to the readers to ask about this? Is it worth asking about? Now I just don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's what my curiosity was. So you answered the question. I appreciate talking to you about that.
I appreciate Matt Schneidman being as open as he always is.
It's gotta be. It's like
you think he was going to lie to you, or
no? I guess it was weird. I didn't. But I wonder what a print journalist is thinking right now because we have to kind of digest it.
Print journalist,
print guy writing, because we have to digest it in doing what we do. But I don't know. I just thought it was interesting.
Feels like you're putting a Schneidman in a box. Multimedia sensation.
No, I wouldn't do that. And I wouldn't do that if I went up and saw him at Pulaski's Furniture or wherever he was. So nice plug there, by the way.
That was a good plug.
Yeah,
that's something I enjoy about having this platform with you guys and having my own show is when you're a beat writer, it's like. Especially at The Athletic, where we don't write every little bit of news. We're not writing every day. What you write about has to have some substance. On the radio, it allows me to cover a lot more, even if it's just touching on something quick and going. So, for example, something Aaron Rodgers says, I'll touch on it on radio. I'll talk about it with Doug because I have some thoughts on stuff, but it's not able to be fleshed out in a whole story. So that's why what I appreciate about having this platform is. I have some thoughts on other stuff that doesn't always fit into a story, and we can chat about it and dissect it here.
So, Matt, I got one real question here, and John, you're gonna be a part of this. You gonna ask John to help you move it all before that Yankees Brewers game on that Sunday?
John still hasn't gotten me a definitive answer about if he's going to the game, so I'm not.
Oh, really?
I actually was transferred the 2 tickets for the suite this morning, so I have the tickets in my possession. And
he's up the ante, John.
John has kids. He has a family. So if he can't go, that's fine. I would love for him to be there, but I am still waiting for a final answer.
What's going to be like walking in with a guy with a bunch of Yankee gear on, John, Yeah,
but here's the deal too. Matt goes out on Twitter and he boasts the best records in all of baseball. And at the time it was the Yankees and the Brewers. And since then, neither team has won a game.
Yeah.
They've also said 5 straight games since he said that.
And also said Kunj 30 and I will be in the building that Sunday.
That's taking a page out of Aaron Rodgers' handbook. That's called trying to manifest something, Bill.
That's this Sunday?
That's proud of you. No, next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
Right. So I'm available. Yeah.
You're not getting the invite.
I'm just saying
I
would be.
I have a feeling John won't be able to go. So I will start making a backup plan.
Well, let's go to the sardine can and find a backup plan potentially for that game. Enjoy that entirety of the weekend excursion because more importantly, Matt, you deserve it. You deserve a heck of a celebration after all the work that you're going to put in grinding away on those stories for the 3 days of the NFL draft. We're proud of you.
And a new house.
And on the way out here, Matt, thoughts on all the players that showed up to the offseason this year for the Packers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I took a quick skim through that photo gallery. The notable ones, obviously, Jair Alexander, he wasn't there last year. Saw that photo. Evan Siegel does a phenomenal job, longtime Packers team photographer, so credit to him for capturing all those. But Jair Alexander walking in with Xavier McKinney, Jordan Love was obviously there, Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, on Nixon,
Josh Jacobs.
It seems some early buy-in and some new energy around this team, which is exciting to cover.
That's Matt Schneidman hanging out with us. Go and check him out at The Athletic right now. You can also follow him on Twitter at Matt Schneidman. That's where you can find a link of what you have put up right now, which is all the Packers picks out of Dane Brugler's 7-round mock draft. Matt, thank you, because I'm going to dive into the whole 7-round mock draft.
Yes.
I don't know that every single human being has, 7 hours to be able to dive into the 7-round mock like I will. So you expedite it, put it right here of all the Packers picks. That's great work. That's why I subscribe. That's why everyone should subscribe.
I appreciate that. Just trying to make it easy for the reader. Some interesting ones in there for sure. An interior offensive lineman in the first round.
Jackson, Powers, Johnson. Ooh, you give me a JPJ to start this out. Listen, the draft show is going to get wild at 1919 if they go offensive lineman in the first round. I'm just going to let it.
I'm not mad about it if they do.
I think so. Here's a quick question on our way out. What position, within reason, not like, if they draft a first-round quarterback, what position that there's a chance they draft in the first round would anger fans most? I think offensive line would make fans most happy.
Yeah.
No chance.
You don't think so?
No, people do not. I don't think people really care that much. It's going to be a buzzkill. They still want a corner or a safety.
After we waited years,
some kind of skill guy.
After we waited years for a first-round wide receiver, and now that we have a room that's 6 receivers deep, drafting a receiver in the first round would be such an interesting kind of concoction that you would boil up here for Packers fans. I think I would love to see what type of animosity that sprues.
That would be fun.
Yeah, and the salt of the earth aspect of the Packer fandom, there's a lot out there like, that's a smart move. That's a smart move we need to shore up the O-line, Balaga type pick. That's a good pick. Whoever it'll be, they'll compare to Balaga because he was a first round.
Oh, so they won't compare it to Derek Sherrod, the last first round offensive lineman they took.
We're not going to worry about that guy.
Good.
We don't think about that guy.
Good.
No.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah. No, I think there'll be that part of it that you're going to try and sound smart and say, that's smart for the Packers to do O-line. I think that's going to be that's where we shore.
You got to get one of the smartest guys in team, right? And get an offensive lineman. Matt, we appreciate it as always. Get back to the work, get back to moving, and we're proud of you with all these big life choices, man. And great mustache.
Thanks.
It's coming in. It's where you're working on it.
Thank you.
We're proud of you. You can go and check that out. If you missed that on YouTube, what are you doing?
He's getting shredded, man.
He is, dude. Yoked up. That's
good for him.
More concerned, John, about that tattoo. He's got that whole arm sleeve. He keeps getting ripped. That thing's going to start stretching.
He took a lot of, heat for being the stick and the brick and the stick, but he's not the stick anymore.
I was going to say maybe that name stuck with him a little bit. That's what he's thinking about in those last 8. Rep number 9.
I think it's just the mustache. I think you
think it's just the mustache is making him
look
ripped?
The mustache, and it makes him look kind of tougher. And I think it's that's trendier now.
Makes him look like a Yankee.
A lot of
because he can't have a beard.
Yep, can't have a beard. So you wear the mustache, and he kind of had that tight T-shirt on with that angle in the car. I think that's all it is. I mean, honestly,
he hit us with the camera angles.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of that.
What's wrong with my camera angle
smart, man.
now? Fix my camera angle, Harmon.
I don't know, man. My man is a star down at Pulaski's Furniture. That's all I know.
Great plug by him on Pulaski's Furniture. We're proud of him. That's Matt Schneidman. You can catch him coming up on Tuesday. He'll have a special draft week special of the Matt Schneidman Show coming up at 6. Coming up next, we will dive into the Bill Belichick piece that feels like a hit piece by his former boss. We'll explain next. It's 9 to noon with Kuhn, Billy, and Armin on the game.
John Kuhn here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And don't walk around your home hoping to change things mysteriously. It's time to take your ordinary space and turn it into something extraordinary with brand new Pella Windows and Doors. They have a luxurious look, sleek design, and custom colors that are guaranteed to give your home the extra pop to entertain all of your friends and keep you comfortable at the same time. It's really the best of both worlds. And at Pella, we see windows differently. We have the highest rated energy efficient products and a complete range of durable, functional, and high quality products that bring the best out of your home. Time to show off your home, and right now is the perfect time to do it when you get 0% interest for up to 36 months or make no down payment, no interest, and no payment for 18 months if you book by the end of the month. That's right. I said just that. 0% interest for up to 3 years or no down payment, no interest, and no payments whatsoever for a year and a half. But you got to book by April 30th. Pella is rated #1 by Milwaukee homeowners as the window brand that stands behind their products. So it's time to take ownership of your living space and make it a place worth living in once again with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com and tell Gina Della that John Kuhn sent you. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Yeah, now we're talking about college days a little bit earlier in the program. This was it. Fetty Wap, wow.
For your era,
oh
yeah.
my God, dude. Anytime Fetty Wap came on, especially this song, it was game over. It was gonna be game over for a while, and there was gonna be a lot of drinks consumed, and it was gonna be a heck of a night, and somebody was going to end up in some kind of argument with someone.
Almost all the big names when I was in college are canceled now. Almost all of them. They're all, you can't, not all of them now, you're still good with, 50 Cent and Nelly and stuff like that. Right, John? Similar era.
I don't know that they're all canceled.
Right, John?
I don't think all of them are. I
well,
think a couple.
Diddy's getting close.
Yeah.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
And Mr. Robert Kelly is
he's gone.
long gone.
But a couple of my guys were just beefing over the weekend.
Oh,
Rick
wow.
Ross and Drake.
Oh yeah, what's up with that?
There's a lot of stuff there, and you don't want moms to get involved.
Are rap beef still a thing? That used to be. Hey, we need to get some street cred. We're gonna beef with each other.
They don't settle it. Luckily, like some of them used to. However, more than anything, you don't settle it necessarily on just diss tracks anymore. A lot of it's only online, which is disappointing.
No, make a whole damn song.
Make a whole song.
You used to make a whole diss track. That was like, okay, at least it gives the fans more music if you're beefing. That was kind of cool. Instead of just firing off passive
Drake's Future one was one of the last good ones where it actually turned into some music that helped us on out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because and you grew up with the East-West rivalry. At least I did, John. And then it was like 50 and Ja Rule were beefing, right? Wasn't that another thing? And then now you've got this era's beef. So it's just part of the business machine, right? It's part of the machine.
You gotta make cash, and you gotta make business, and more importantly, you gotta make waves, because that's how you're able to continue making news. And our guy Matt Steinman, holy cow! Somebody Pat and DePere. You see the letterhead that Pat and DePere sent into the talking text line?
Matt Schneidman is big time when he is now the spokesperson for Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group.
Well, even better, Matthew Schneidman.
Matthew Schneidman.
Oh,
Matthew Schneidman.
Well, that's what, and he covered the tattoo, and he wore long sleeves to cover the tattoo. I mean, talk about really changing your ways to be an endorser here.
Yeah, but he still had shorts on in those old Air Max or whatever he's wearing. No, it's nice that he's got like an endorsement. For
he is rocking the Zabin tube socks in that picture, which is an interesting look. However, we're proud of our guy. Listen, big boy decisions is what that is. Pleasure to work with. 414-799-1973. Pleasure to work with. Not exactly what Robert Kraft was saying about one Bill Belichick. So we tapped around on this story a little bit, John. ESPN blows off the roof of the Bill Belichick story here today, talking about why he failed on the job hunt, and in a long form expose, pieced together conversations with Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie, GM and owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, as to why, maybe Bill Belichick wasn't a candidate there. There's a paragraph in there as to why he was not a candidate in Dallas when we thought Mike McCarthy was potentially going to be let go. And then there are about 15 paragraphs that are more fascinating than just about anything I watched outside of the Aaron Hernandez episode of the Dynasty documentaries, that Robert Kraft and Arthur Blank were having some conversations where Robert Kraft almost, you could say, blocks this hire, because it sounds like Arthur Blank was dialed in, signed, sealed, delivered. I'm going to take Bill Belichick. And Robert Kraft said, hold on one second.
Yeah.
Do you really want to do that?
The line is, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Well, what about an owner of your football team, right? These guys can go out and absolutely blackball you from playing, because guess what? You talk about an elite club, the elite club of 31 owners and Mark Murphy around the National
and Mark.
League. Hey, they will have some back channel conversations. And to hear that Robert Kraft completely blocked Bill Belichick, hey, that guy, you don't want him.
You don't want him.
What do you mean I don't want him? He won you 6 Super Bowls. Yeah, but you don't want him.
Source close to Patriots owner Robert Kraft. This is one of the quotes, and we'll run through a couple of them. Kraft found Bill to be extremely difficult and obstinate and kind of stubborn, and in the end, not worthy of his trust. And
that
also
crazy.
Very, very, very arrogant. Okay. 90% of that we
already knew. Thank you, Bill.
He's arrogant?
No way.
He's stubborn. He's obstinate.
I've never heard that before.
You talking about the guy who goes up to a microphone and just mumbles in, we're on to the Vikings. So
we're done with this.
That can't be the guy that I read books about. The education of a coach, brilliant, focused, obsessed. No, doesn't take any, doesn't deviate from his way. Doesn't, because I read a whole book about how great he was because of that.
It's
just funny how that changes when you lose and when you win, right?
Well, and it's very different when the owner is the one talking about it, who had a massive infatuation and love with Tom Brady. And when that divorce went down, you wondered which side he was going to side with. Maybe he sided with the guy that walked away from him. The same source said he did not know if Kraft had warned Arthur Blank about Belichick's trustworthiness, but said that both Jonathan Kraft and Robert Kraft, the son of Robert Kraft, felt, quote, betrayed by the coach. I don't think they'd try to hurt Belichick, said the source, but I don't think they'd try to help him either. They weren't going to try and sink him. He was finished as an effective head coach. Just look at his last 4 years in New England. A disaster. If you're Arthur Blank, why do you want the headaches?
The headaches. Wow.
I mean, listen, if it comes with winning games, I think that I'll take some of the headaches, John. Like Arthur Blank still, one of the toughest parts for this, out of all you're hearing from Robert Kraft, in the back of Arthur Blank's mind, he still had to be looking at that score of 28-3 playing over in his head saying, I don't care what kind of headache I have.
It's not just the fact that he won 6 Super Bowls. It's the fact that he beat you in your chance at the Super Bowl. I mean, I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised because the conversations and the circles around the NFL, I mean, they're out there. I mean, it's the days of our lives when it comes to guys calling other teams to talk to other coaches because it's a fraternity and guys cycle around the NFL. I know coaches that have been on 5 or 6 teams in 8 or 9 years, and they know pretty much they have a tentacle to just about every player or team or somebody that knows them, and they can reach out and find out everything that they want to know about that player or that coach or that owner during that time. And am I surprised by this? Not one bit. Am I surprised that Arthur Blank flat out listened? Yeah, I'm surprised.
That's a good point.
It is, because it's amazing how only 4 years, and let's be honest, this is the biggest part of this. All this would be okay if the guy was going to win for you, and because of the last 4 years of the Patriots, you can't count on that anymore from Belichick, right? 7-9, 10-7 was fine, 8-9, 4-13. The results just haven't been good. So that's where it's an amazing, this guy, for all the years, everyone wanted to be like him, wanted to emulate him, wanted to have their own Belichick, would do anything. He's the smartest, he's the greatest. And now it's like, he's not worth the trouble. Like, that's amazing to me that how quickly it changes, but that's the reality if you don't think he's going to win for you.
Do you think he coaches again?
I do.
You think he gets a job this next year?
I think he does this next year. I can't imagine that all 32 teams are going to pass on him again. And what I mean by that is obviously there were only 8 jobs open this year.
Yeah.
There will be another 6 or 8 open next year. And I'd be very surprised if they go in a different, if all those teams go in a different direction again next year. Remember, this felt like it was a done deal. It felt like he was going to Atlanta. And then when it didn't happen, you thought, well, he just asked for too much money or he asked for too much control. No.
He said, no, I'm good.
This was an owner that called Arthur Blank, Robert Kraft, saying too much of a headache. A headache? It's a headache.
It's a headache to win games.
Even if you win a Super Bowl, too much headaches?
You gotta be liked though. People, even if you might win for somebody, clearly.
Is this show friends or show business?
But you know what? Clearly, if what turned him off about getting a job for the greatest, well, some people say the greatest coach, the greatest winner of our generation, was just that he was difficult to be around. Think about that. I mean, that's pretty significant. I think if he didn't lose the last 4 years, they would have gotten over that. But that seemed to be a big part of it. But if they would have won, he
also wouldn't have been on the market. Right. So I mean, at some point, you have to look around and say, okay, they hired Matt Patricia to call plays. That's a massive L. Let's figure out if we can change that up and give him an offensive guy.
And let's not act like they won 4 games the last 4 years. They went to the playoffs with Mac Jones.
He was a Pro Bowler for him.
Pro Bowl.
Okay.
Before Tyler Huntley.
Okay. Quarterbacks and Pro Bowls. Okay, that's a little different.
What?
Yes, the Pro Bowl. Yes, he did do that, but they've been bad the last 2 years. And you're right. I would never sit here and say because of that, Belichick's not a good coach. But it just seems like they're just like, you don't like him, you don't want him, he's no good. Trust me, he's more trouble than he's worth, and he's not going to coach much longer. Wow. Okay. It's just amazing how that works so quickly. So
I'm also
I'm surprised too.
I'm also interested to see what it works out with Arthur Blank or for Robert Kraft, because if he's now the dean and understands what makes a good head coach and who is a good head coach, Gerard Mayo better walk on in and just be dominant, right?
Yeah,
it's going to be completely changed because now the jerk is out of the room.
Sure.
Now I don't have to deal with him, so now our team's going to be good. Interesting to see if any receipts come back towards one Robert Kraft. 414-799-1973. It's 9 to noon on the game. 9 to noon on the game. Brewers trying to steal one, salvage a game against the San Diego Padres today at American Family Field. Don't worry about it. Welcome to the Bigs. I know you're ready, Armin. You got your Tobias Myers jersey ready?
Oh yeah, I got my Tobias Myers number. Do you know? I don't know what number it is. Don't worry though. One thing I know is we're going to be good today. I feel good today because Angel Hernandez is not behind the plate. He's at third. He's at third today. Quinn Wolcott's behind the plate. Thank goodness. You know, if we get Angel Hernandez for a series, which I hate, I always hope he's not on the home plate rotation because, you know, they rotate through a series. But thank goodness Quinn Wolcott's behind the plate because my man Angel's at it again, just making a mockery of his a profession. Let's just say. Is that wrong to say?
He was on one yesterday.
Yeah, he called like a balk on Wade last night. I thought
Murph was going to get one of those 9 ejections that Paul Wagner told us about.
He said 9. Yeah, 9 ejections. So we didn't get it last night. But here's hoping for the best that we can at least salvage a game this series. You don't want to get swept.
It'll be Bryce Wilson opening up before Tobias Myers, who will take over after the lineup will read with Sal Frelick out and left, hitting second, William Contreras, Jake Bauers at first base, hitting third, with the addition to the IL yesterday afternoon of Christian Yelich for the 10-day. Willie Adames will clean up over at shortstop. Oliver Dunn, the 5-hole hitter, at third. Reese Hoskins hitting sixth at the designated hitter role. At second, Bryce Terang, Jackson Churio hitting eighth in right field, and Blake Perkins out in center, rounding out the 9 for Pat Murphy's squad, who tries to win a game, tries to get one, and most importantly, win one of these home games, because we don't get a whole lot of home games here in the month of April. The 3 games, and now you're back out onto the road and get a win and feel good about it. That would be nice, because then when Tim Allen hangs out with the Mike Heller Show, a little bit of Drew and KB after, it can be celebratory. We don't need Tim Allen this early in the season, just after Jackie Robinson Day, to be having a rant. Yeah, we can't be having that. We need a positive Tim Allen this early in the season,
especially going into the weekend here. We don't want him to have a bad weekend coming up and all that stuff. We do need those Tim Allen rants, but we don't need one
at some particular point in time. We do. Yes, no doubt about it. We also enjoy the conversation of 414-799-1973 and a couple of people, guys, weighing in on our conversation about Bill Belichick and about the Robert Kraft story that ESPN put out today. 414 texter, how is Kraft's word, John, taken so strongly or meaningful? Isn't he the one who got busted down in Florida with messages that seemingly went away? It is interesting, though, that his word gets taken so cleanly and confidently by Arthur Blank that there would be no thought of any bad blood or animosity in that, really. Yeah,
and I think within, and we talked about the fraternity that is the owners, 31 owners and Mark Murphy, the fraternity that there is, I believe there's probably some sub categories within that grouping that are closer than others, and it could very well be that Arthur Blank and Robert Kraft are best buds. It could be that they are in a group to themselves. I know, Jerry Jones is in a group with, another group of owners, and some owners like that group and some owners don't like that group. So this is just really rich guys in a really exclusive club having really exclusive conversations about people trying to be in their club. And that's really all it comes down to. And when you have a couple owners that are close like that, a powerful word from one owner to another, it means a lot.
And there was also, throughout the middle of the season, how many times did we just think he was going to go to Washington?
We assumed that was the case, right? Yeah, we assumed
do the Vince Lombardi 50 years later.
Yes, I think we thought a lot of teams would take him, and Washington would be like a baseline type, like the fail-safe for him, like the backup school.
But in this story, it says multiple sources said Belichick was very interested. He grew up around the area. Yeah, Commanders minority owner Magic Johnson even lobbied hard for Belichick to be the team's new head coach. Spoke to GM Adam Peters, formerly of the San Francisco 49ers, a former Patriots staffer. He said he respected the job Peters had done in the personnel department. However, Josh Harris, new principal owner, who had spoken privately with one Robert Kraft about Bill Belichick, told his confidants early in December that he respected Belichick, but we're not going there. We're not doing it. So quit asking.
And I think there's an idea of, are you going to have to turn over your entire organization for him, the whole culture, just for a couple of years? Like, how long is he going to coach? But it's just amazing that everyone found a reason to talk themselves out of Bill Belichick. Quote unquote, what I always heard, the greatest. Right. I still think Vince is the greatest, but that's a different discussion for a different day.
Also, totally different eras.
Different eras,
Completely
different
different eras.
everything. So it's hard to compare. But everybody talked themselves out of Bill. It's pretty interesting.
One other friend, longtime friend of Bill Belichick, said he wonders if the coach will ever get another opportunity. I don't think Bill will ever be a head coach in the NFL again unless it's for Jerry Jones.
Oh, baby. Here we go.
Are we going to have the 12-month tease of will Bill Belichick be the Dallas Cowboys head coach in 2025?
It is the Cowboys. It is Jerry Jones. And it is Mike McCarthy.
And it is Mike McCarthy. Yes.
Whether it's Bill Belichick or a rodeo clown, they're going to talk about why Mike McCarthy's seat is hot from day one.
And it starts on a 10. I assume on the heat scale, that one starts at a 10. Hour number 3, always on a 10. We got a Coons Can't Miss coming up in about 10, 15 minutes. You're not going to want to miss that one. You're not going to want to have potentially no winner going into the NBA play-in game tonight. We'll have that for you next, 9 to noon on the Game. Hour 3, 9 to noon with Coon, Billy, and Armin on the game, hanging out with all of you at 414-799-1973. Before we get into hour number 3, we got a Coons Can't Miss waiting here. Badger football spring practice going on. Our guy, Nick Brusewitz, hustling with all of that, all of that content day in and day out.
Yep. Talking to players.
So, John, I got a question for you as somebody who went through a lot of spring balls, had a lot of different coaches in your time. The Badger social media department always asks the players as they walk off the practice field, what would one question for the video, one question and give an answer to. The question today was, if you wrestled Luke Fickell, could you get a takedown?
I think I could.
Now or when he was in his prime?
I think I could. Well, when was he in his prime?
Well,
about the same time I was in my prime, right?
But wasn't he like a monster wrestler?
Yes, he was.
He was one match.
I'm not saying.
School.
Listen, wrestlers are different.
This also doesn't mean that you're going to beat him. You just got to get him down one time.
I'm just saying I think I could get one takedown on him because I don't think, especially with the weight class here, right? Because what did he wrestle? 189. Look up his stats. What did he wrestle?
Oh, he wrestled heavyweight.
Oh, he did. Well, that changes everything.
Oh yeah, he was a big boy.
I didn't think Fick would wrestle heavyweight, but if he did heavyweight, he's dealing with a lot bigger hombres than me.
Did you wrestle, John?
Maybe I couldn't get him down in his prime. I feel like I could very easily get him down right now.
I was going to say right now, I think it's a much different story because he's definitely 215, 225 weight class.
He's cut very well now. And I am not.
But my
maybe he'd wear me out, or maybe he'd get me sweating on the mat.
Did you wrestle in high school or not, John? Because these wrestling guys were different, and they loved when guys thought they could handle them with the strategeries and all that stuff.
I wrestled for about 4 days until they put me in the heavyweight class, and the guy that I was competing for wrestling time, his nickname was Congo. Okay, so that tells you everything you need to know.
But you expect me to believe that
he was a defensive lineman, and heavyweight back then was anything over 189.
Well,
anything over 189 was heavyweight. So
that's what I'm saying.
A John Coon in high school was weighing about 200 pounds. Remember, I graduated high school at 17, so I was thin, John Coon back then, wrestling literally Congo. That was his nickname. Defensive lineman, 275 pounds. He was right on the line.
I was going to say he was making sure he was right on the line.
Every bit of a heavyweight.
That's all I'm saying. You lasted 4 days. So far be it for me to tell you, John Coon, what you can't do.
Well, it was that. It was that and the ringworm.
You see, the ringworm is one.
Ringworm is a big thing.
You knew the wrestlers because they all had the same tattoo on their neck, but it wasn't a tattoo. It was ringworm.
They all had it. I don't know. I think
the cauliflower ear for me too. In my 1 year, I was like, you know what? I already got bad enough ears. I don't know that I can get that. I don't know that I can have that.
And that's an endurance thing too with wrestling. Those guys are different, man. I'm not really sure if Luke Fickell's as good as we heard he was back in the day.
The running on the wrestling team was also a different type of running. Like those cats were running around the school all day long.
But they also ran kind of funny.
Super funny.
Sure, because they're not like
100%.
It wasn't like a linear run. It was like a zigzag run.
Like bouncing around. You got these super small, like thin shoes on that you're just trying not to hurt. Yeah, 3-time state champion in high school. But my question is for one of these players, all right, Luke's going to see this. Do I want to be the one that said, Coach, just so you know, I'm taking that candy ass down?
I think yes, because he can't wrestle everybody on the team, right?
Oh, that's fair. Yep.
So whoever,
very fair.
Out of all the players that say yes, let's say 10 players say yes, he's going to be smart too. He's not. All you have to be is more imposing than the weakest of the players that say yes. And there's some crazy kid that's out there. Yeah, I could wide receiver, cornerback. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to show you that I still got this.
I'm trying to see, and I'm going to let you guys see this video too, because they're cutting in with videos of him in high school as these guys I'm getting coached down to the ground, and he is just babying these kids.
That's what I'm saying. He probably ragged all these guys.
I'm not taking anything away from Luke Fickell when I say I think I could get one takedown.
Yeah. No, I think that's a win. I think if you get one takedown, I'm celebrating that.
You correct me in wrestling. A takedown is just getting his knee to touch the ground, correct? I don't actually have to get him on his back, on his side. I just got to get his knee to touch the ground, correct?
Is that a point?
Takedown's 2 points.
Yeah.
I think you might need both, but I'm not positive.
Tony No Creek, his son.
Yeah, Tony No Creek, his son wrestles at Stevens Point. He'd be able to help us out with all that. I love the idea of sitting around.
Love it.
Luke Fickell in his office. Young man comes in, Long week of practice. So, Andre, you think you can get me to the mat, huh?
Let's go right now.
Coach, come on. No,
He starts slapping the table.
You know that was a joke, right? No, I'm never joking about any of this.
Nope.
414-799-1973. I love the idea.
I love it.
I would love to see him square up and spar maybe with 1, 2, 10, 15 players. However, he's not going to. So quit asking. Fellas, last night after the beautiful dinner that we had at Carnivore.
Great dinner, yeah.
Fantastic celebration with our guy Dan and Andy in Brookfield. I got a text that I think a lot of homeowners always fear. Got a text from my fiance that said, John, it's time to burn the house down.
Burn it down.
Time to burn the house down.
Not sell it, burn it down.
Burn the house down.
It's haunted.
What the? That was my thought. 4
Okay.
ghosts just come up and knock one of the TVs off of the mount? No. A mouse ran through the kitchen.
Never good.
Oh no. Mouse in the house.
There's a mouse
in the house.
In the house. I'm getting live alerts this morning as we went through yesterday the laundry list of things that I cannot fix.
We did do that. Yeah.
The long list of things that I am going to be no help with whatsoever around the house. This one I actually think I could be of assistance. But Big Bill is on the case. I mean, my dad was dialed in from this last night when I said,
Did you get it already?
We do not have it yet. We do not have it yet. Traps are set. Pest control companies are urged to email timscott@iheartmedia.com
Yes.
if potentially you're interested, or 414-799-1973. But this is going to be an occurrence that it's going to happen at some particular point in time, right? Or is this actually we're probably going to have to move until
So she saw the house, or she saw the mouse.
it ran right.
Between her now
legs.
there are mice that are kind of cute and clean, and then there's mice that
those
have
are the ones not in your house.
Then there's mice that have like the mangy hair, and they're not white, they're black. Like everybody pictures a mouse looking like, Tom and Jerry, right?
Right. Yes.
And
Sure.
that's not really what the mice in the house look like. They're mangy. They have buggy eyes. They have buck teeth that stick out. Yeah, they're kind of gnarly. They're kind of nasty.
Long tails that
And
all
they're hard to
looking
like. You think you can catch them? Like if you get them cornered? No, you can't catch them. They're too quick.
So you should have seen me last night when I got back from Potawatomi, though.
You were going through it, my man. Yeah, when you were there, because you're like, man, we got a mouse in the house.
Well, I got into the basement last night.
You did? You went in there?
And I was convinced I was going to catch this mouse.
You're like, I'm not going to bed until I get this thing, right?
I went to bed pretty quickly after, because I realized that at that state, even after a couple of espresso martinis, which was getting my heart rate up and elevating my adrenaline, John, I was not catching that thing. That thing was going to run right past me. I was going to trip, fall, hit my head, and make an even worse situation in the house at midnight.
After carnivore dinner that we sat at for 3 hours, then Potawatomi.
I saw his mood change.
Where we spent another couple hours.
Yeah.
I mean, out of the 5 of us that went for the late night,
for the post game,
for the post game,
out of the 5, I mean, maybe I couldn't see anybody attempting to catch a mouse after that thing. Definitely not Dan. Dan wasn't catching anything.
Don't think Dan was going to catch a mouse. Now Andy,
one thing he could have caught.
Andy potentially could have.
Andy claims
maybe.
Andy claims, and these guys, they talk about they work HVAC and these things. They seem like they had ideas for everything, and I think Andy might have had a plan for you. He was saying something to me about the different types of traps you can get, or the different types of exterminators he would recommend. So maybe he would have it, but I don't know, man. I don't think that catching a mouse is not an easy business. The entire text line is saying get a cat. But then it's a whole extra level of stuff you got to do now.
Then I got to get a litter box, and then they got to be friends with the dog.
Right, you got a lot of problems. Now you have,
and I don't know that if a mouse is 1A, I think a cat might be 1B on the animals that my fiance is not a big fan.
So there you go. So that's out. So that's out because she doesn't want a cat. Now you do have dogs, right?
Yes.
Are they going to mess
with
the
worst guard dogs of all time?
They're not going to mess with the mouse. They're not going to figure it out.
I looked at Bella. I was like, we wouldn't have this problem if you just caught the mouse.
Can you do something for us, please?
Could you do something for me? She just scratched and like, hey, how about you move your legs so I can take a nap?
Yeah, Buckwheat used to just watch him. He would just
hang out, right?
Wouldn't even pick up his head. He just kind of his eyes would his head wouldn't even move. His eyes would move in his head.
Hey, Buckwheat, go get him.
And he watched the mouse go running back and forth.
I'm not doing it. There's no chance. Not even interested in chasing a squirrel. I'm just gonna look at it. You guys gonna get rid of that one?
Oh, that's weird. There's a mouse there, guys.
You guys see that mouse over there? You should take care of that, Dad. And yes, I get it, AAA Dante. I understand with everybody. There's never just one. That's the terror as to where I'm at right now. So it's gonna be a fun afternoon, fellas. I'm really, really looking forward to going home.
Everyone's saying this trap, glue trap. My dad's recommendation's always been peanut butter. He already texted it in. Peanut butter on a trap. So I listen. If you have a trap,
that's a good way to catch a Billy Schmidt too.
I think the whole peanut butter.
Something smells really good around here.
I think the cheese on the trap is sort of like an old time, like just popular. It's in media. They like the mouse gets the cheese. No. You gotta go for something more exciting like peanut butter. Put a couple Reese's Pieces on there too. You never know what's going to happen, right?
Oh wow! So you're saying throw a little chocolate in there too? They might be a fan of that.
Why not? Why not? Just whatever it takes. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it takes.
The amount of suggestions though is why I appreciate all of our listeners. Now somebody sent in a bucket mouse trap. This looks fascinating. Also looks like something that I would probably mess up. And if there were mice in there, that would be the after carnivore trying to catch it, kick the thing over, and then all of a sudden 5 more run right through. I'm hoping these sticky traps are going to do the trick. I'm really hoping, more importantly, it's kind of caught by the time that I get home. I don't think it's going to, John, but is that bad of me? Just like, come on, go get it, Pops.
Well,
I don't think so.
Go get it, Pops.
Dad's on the case, right?
I will say
He's
this.
too.
There was one time we had them really bad around the outside, so I stuck out a bucket and put water in it with some sunflower seeds floating on the top.
Genius idea. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Until you realize how aggressive that is. And I saw one swimming at the top of the water, just shuffling its arms. I had to kick it over and let him out.
You can't get emotional. Don't be like me.
It was too much for me, Armin.
You can't get emotional.
It was too much for me.
That's awesome.
He was just sitting in there swimming his ass off, and I had to kick the bucket over.
I feel bad too. At least you got him out of the house, right?
Had I not seen it and he would have just been dead there, it would have been fine. I would have just thrown him away.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to worry about it.
I had to walk by as he was swimming for his life, so I had to kick the bucket.
Would you release it in like a nature preserve? Like, you don't care, Billy, if it's out of the house. You're not going to try and kill it, right? Or you are? You want the thing out?
There's a certain answer that I'm probably supposed to say.
No. PETA's not out here protecting mice. If you worry about getting canceled,
okay, I think
they are, Armin.
Because we have somebody on the talking text line that says, "Billy, come on, dude, they need a place to live."
According to what? According
to
here. The entire world is their place to live. There's plenty of trees and woods out there. Go to the forest. That's your place to live. Yeah. Not under my, kitchen sink or whatever. Like, go outside. That's your place to live. It's called the outside, the forest. Go touch grass, Mr. Mouse.
Go enjoy the great outdoors.
We're not out
John Candy made a fantastic movie about the great outdoors. Go and live that life.
Yeah, we're not going to defend mice here. I don't need any of this. Like, we're not going to get into like the philosophical, reasons to keep mice alive.
There's a bunch of different ones. Ultrasonic pest repeller. You plug in.
Yeah, those things don't work.
There's no way
those things don't work.
Oh, is that like
what is it supposed to do?
Like just the mosquito zapper, right?
It's supposed to just like deafen them and then they fall over. Or what?
Those things are so
fake. Makes no sense.
They're not making any noise. They sell you a box that you plug in
for the balance
that you can't hear. It's a frequency you can hear, but only the mice can. Come on.
I'm not buying it. No.
You can't hear it. You talk about a genius idea. Sell somebody something that they can't see, hear, smell, touch, but it's there. It's just trust me.
Sounds like selling air.
Trust me, it's there. Yeah.
Just trust me. Just like the balance bracelet. TK and Grafton. I love all God's creatures, but not uninvited guests in my home. That's where I cross the line.
That's exactly
totally right.
Yes.
That's totally fair.
That's right where we're at here.
Barrister says sticky traps aren't good. The mouse just gets stuck there alive. Okay, and you caught the mouse, didn't you?
Yeah, hey man, as long as I'm catching it, like that's all that matters. And I do think that the bad thing is that I don't want to have too many of the traps around because little man just started walking.
No, that's the other thing.
And that son of a gun is, I'm going to look away and all of a sudden he's going to have one of these glue traps in his hand. And then I'm going to be even more hot water.
Yeah. Well, that's a glue trap better than snap trap.
John. Yeah, that's A1. That's a win. And that's exactly what we're about to do during this segment. Walks over, Dad, what's this? Snap trap breaking his hand.
Why do I feel like it wouldn't phase him though?
They probably would laugh at it.
I think
like,
I just
let me get
like,
another one of those things.
Yeah, he wants to play with it more. What is this?
Then he walks over with one on his other hand, and he has one on each hand. Snap trap on each hand, clapping
them
together.
together.
Oh,
Yeah, next thing you know, you got your Christmas card.
Mama
picture.
would be really happy. Hey, by the way, fellas, we were down at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook last night, but have you guys ever stayed in the rooms there?
That's
You know,
amazing.
I
They
haven't
are-
yet.
They,
I haven't yet.
They are some of the best hotel rooms in the entire city.
With some of the best views.
They are clean. They smell. They have that great smell to them. The beds are super comfy.
Well, thanks
The
for the invite.
pillows are unbelievable.
You wanted to
Invite.
sleep with them?
No, if you got two queens, you know, just
I
saying.
mean, just because you wake up together doesn't mean you guys have to
Don't
sleep
you-
together.
you,
But
you live in Milwaukee, don't you?
I know. I'm just kidding around. I do.
The
I was like,
hotel is fantastic, and the sports book is fantastic as well. Starting May 3rd, it's going to be the biggest sports book outside of Vegas. Make your way down there for the Kentucky Derby. Don your best Kentucky Derby hat as they cut the ribbon.
Can't
Go
wait.
in there, see the 2,000 square foot LED screen. I don't think people understand how big 2,000 square feet is. Armin, how big is your condo?
1,100, I
It's
believe.
2 times the size of Armin's condo.
Mhm.
Armin could live in 2 of these screens.
That'd be awesome. I could live at Pato.
You could. Live,
Potawatomi.
you almost do live at Pato.
No,
That's
no,
fair.
no. Well, yes, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. There's a lot to do there, right? You got Rock and Bruce.
What?
You got the second floor.
What?
You got the marketplace, which has ramen now.
You got the coon dog.
They have ramen down there. I noticed that.
You're
You
going
got
to
the
pick
coon dog.
ramen over the coon dog?
Oh, 'cause it's
He's
part of,
rude.
no, it's
And
part
then
of
he
my
expects to
balance.
sleep. And then he expects to sleep in my room. Not happening.
crazy.
So
No
quit
chance.
asking.
Hey, don't they have the biggest suite? I think they have the biggest suite in Milwaukee. Like the biggest.
You're talking
room.
about the top one, the
Yeah,
top floor
man,
one?
It's
Yeah.
got like a gold toilet or something like that, or a gold bathtub.
Bathtub.
It's not a toilet. Sorry.
Yeah, we were not in that one, but we actually had a fantasy draft in one of the suites this past year.
Unbelievable.
Presidential.
It was
Yeah, they've got it.
unlike any other.
The hotel's fantastic. The sports book's fantastic. The casino's fantastic. Make your way down there to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook and have yourself a damn time. And the party's always going.
Always.
Walked out at 7:30 this morning. It was rocking. I almost didn't come to work. I almost stayed there and just had myself a day. Yesterday, I told you Lakers money line. It's a lock, and got ourselves some good odds there and got ourselves another victory. So we got ourselves a dub. We're working with the play-in games here. And I think tonight, listen, what a fascinating matchup in the East. You got the Heat versus the Sixers.
I was going to
Whoever-
say Hawks Bulls.
Whoever, that's the only dud of 4 playing
Dud.
games. Do you think the NBA really, they figured this thing out? These playing games are fun.
They are.
Armin, we dogged them, but they are fun. You get LeBron James, Steph Curry, Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler.
Sure, but that's for now. I want to see what it's going to be like the next 15 years.
I think it's going to be like this
Okay.
nearly every year. 3 out of 4 games, minimum 2 out of every 4, minimum 50% are going to be must-watch television, and that's what it is tonight with the Heat and the 76ers, because it doesn't just stop here. Whoever wins this game is going to Madison Square Garden. That's what
That's
makes
the
this
winner. Yeah,
interesting. That's what makes this fascinating. And I think it's going to be the Sixers. I think the Sixers are going to win this game. I think Joel Embiid's going to play well. And I think Tyrese Maxey is a budding star in the NBA.
Okay.
And his over-under tonight of 24.5 is not enough. He's going to go over that, Tyrese Maxey, over 24.5 points
I
in
like
this game
that.
tonight. That's my can't miss for tonight. And the 76ers are going to win this because we need the 76ers going to New York in the first round. That's going to be a fun series to watch. That thing could be 7 games in itself. We could get multiple 7-game series in the Eastern Conference first round.
Very well could.
That's going to be fun. These playoffs are going to be a lot of fun, not just the Bucks, but everything else that's going on there. You got the Lakers taking on the Nuggets. You got the Heat or the Sixers taking on the Knicks. We know our Bucks and man, these playoffs are setting up to be something fierce.
And the thing is with the NBA playoffs, you know that teams are waiting and gearing up for it. Now, I think fans have done it even more, right? Like have only dialed themselves in right after March Madness. And then they say, okay, now I got 2 weeks to get ready for the postseason.
I gotta be
and I can
honest,
start focusing.
I went to 4 games this year. You're watching regular season basketball. It's different. It's
totally
not
different.
It's not the
Different
same.
deal.
I am fired up for the playoffs, and we might have to get these tickets because the secondary market on these Bucks tickets are not high at
It
all.
was under
It's serious,
40.
ain't it? It's wild to be able to get into a playoff game for under $40. I hope people are taking advantage of it.
I saw tickets yesterday, lower bowl, 110.
Man.
110. To sit in a lower bowl on it.
For an NBA playoff game, yeah. I remember when we paid that for SRO, I think, once. Those were different times, you know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, 100%.
Those were different times.
People were a little hungrier.
See what I'm looking. I'm trying to find. It's basically you can get in for around 40, which is
and that's getting the door price,
right.
and it's a playoff game, and you're able to go see Dame Lillard hopefully drop like 30, 40.
37, yeah.
Make sure that you're there and make sure that you are soaking that in. We also have the times for the Bucks playoff games that have now been released. And interesting. I was wrong. I'll admit that I was wrong. We'll give you that full layout coming up here next. It is 9 to noon. John Coons right there. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Sarian's with you. It's 414-799-1973 for you to join the conversation here on The Game. 9 to noon on the game. Thanks for hanging out with all of us here today. And most importantly, if you're heading on down to American Family Field, enjoy hopefully a Brewers victory. Guys, this just coming down from the National Basketball Association. Jontay Porter has been banned from the NBA for life for violating the league's gaming rules. Whoa. NBA announced today that Jontay Porter, a two-way player recently under contract with the Toronto Raptors, has been banned from the NBA. The league investigation found that Porter violated league rules by disclosing confidential information to sports bettors, limiting his own participation in one or more games for betting purposes, and betting on NBA games. The league's investigation found that the March 20th game, Porter disclosed confidential information about his own health status to an individual he knew to be an NBA bettor. Another individual with whom Porter associated and knew to be an NBA bettor subsequently placed just an $80,000 parlay proposition bet with an online sportsbook to win $1.1 million, wagering that Porter would underperform on his player props on a March 20th game.
So you make it too obvious. You guys just don't. They're gonna catch you. All these guys, they make it too obvious. It's like our guy, the baseball coach, right? Am I wrong? It's like the
dude from Alabama. I think it was
100,000. First of all,
that's your gripe with this?
Don't lie, cheat, or steal, please. They're gonna get caught. What do you mean? That's my gripe. That's the
your
first
gripe
thing.
Is not just. Guys, what are you doing
Don't
here?
Fix games.
Why is it always the two-way players? Why is it always the guys on the practice squad? Why can't these guys just realize they don't have the leash that a LeBron James has?
Because they don't have the money either. They want that money. That's so they have, this is one way I can make it. I'm not making big contracts, but this is one way I can try and.
He's looking at his brother, Michael Porter Jr., who signs himself a $100 million contract, saying, well, there's $1 million. And right now I'm only making 300,000. John, I can do that math. That's a lot easier math than
no, I get. Listen, I get it. You don't have a couple nickels to rub together. Okay, you. This is what the NFL did with those Detroit Lions players.
Yes.
Bye. You're going to say goodbye because they have to do this because, quite frankly, this happens with him. You start. Well, what about the guys that are playing every single night? And their over-unders are legit numbers, like 24.5, like we just put with Tyrese Maxey. Mm-hmm. I mean, any little bit of information, insider knowledge can completely skew this thing and blow the whole top off of it for all the sports leagues and the gambling sites.
Oh. And one thing that aggravates me more than anything, guys, about it is when the clapback will be, well, I'm seeing the news and ESPN is showing the odds to the game right up underneath it. Yeah. That's very, very true. And if you say that these guys should be able to make money off the gambling money, look at the NBA, CBA.
They're making money.
All money that comes into the league is split 50-50. So if you want more and more of that 50-50 pie that's coming in from FanDuel, DraftKings, Underdog Fantasy, you're going to have to be a part of it, and you're going to have to not. There cannot be any shadow of a doubt, John.
Armin just wants
that this gets fixed.
Armin just wants him to cheat better.
It is pretty horrendously done on the cheating side.
That's what amazes me is how sloppy and bad they are doing it. I don't want them to fix games or cheat or whatever. Right? It's amazing how sloppy it is and how stupid they are.
I would love that conversation.
It is greed though that gets these guys in trouble. I mean, if he had his guy only betting $100 or $500 for a little quick extra pocket money, he probably wouldn't get caught. But you want more.
It's kind of like our emotional hedge conversation from yesterday.
Sure, it is. But
how much is it worth? Hey, how much is worth it?
I'll tell you what, right now. But if you're gonna cost your livelihood, yeah, he's a two-way player. But guess what? He ain't gonna get another chance in this league. I hope you like Lithuania. That's actually a pretty nice country from what I've heard. But I'm just saying.
I hope you like
playing overseas because that's where you're bound to. Now, listen, maybe that's where he was bound to be anyway. Maybe he feels there was no risk involved because he wasn't going to have much of a career in the NBA, right? Maybe he feels that way, but I don't know, man.
More of the story or the press release from the NBA. In addition, from January through March 2024, while traveling with the Raptors or Raptors 905, which is the G League team, Porter placed at least 13 bets on NBA games using an associate online betting account. These bets ranged in size of $15 to $22,000. Little Ippy style. I'd love to know what he's betting $15 on.
Yeah, that's the funniest
19 team parlay, a little Calvin Ridley style on the parlays for a total of $54,000 in investments. The total payout from these bets, $76,000, resulting in a net winnings of almost $22,000. None of the bets involved a game in which Porter played, but the suspicious bets involving Porter's performance in the Raptors' March 20th game were brought to the NBA's attention by a licensed sports betting operator. Yeah. Because somebody bet $80,000 on Jontay Porter.
On Jontay Porter. It's
God
so
bless.
obvious.
If you're throwing $80,000 on anything involving Jontay Porter, 1-800-GAMBLER.
You know what this is?
Or ncpgambling.org.
This is the Italian job. It's the Italian job. This is my last one. We're going to go really big.
One last time.
We're just going to do one more. And this is going to be the one that sets us up. This is going to be our last time. One last one. But it's got to be big. It's got to be really big.
Do you think this is the last time we hear this?
No,
someone will try.
This is going to continue to happen, and we're just going to have to live with it as fans, right? We're going to have to live with it as fans and trust it as fans and trust that they get everybody that does it.
Yeah.
And what's the likelihood of that actually happening?
Kind of low.
Yeah.
And John, it's one of the reasons why, even as a sports betting enthusiast that I am, I could not agree more with the NCAA's idea to eliminate college player prop bets, because sure, NIL money is different than it was 2, 3, 4, 15 years ago. However, there are guys that are not making more than $1,500 in a semester from their stipend.
Yeah, it's too tempting. Yeah.
That's a lot more tempting if a couple of guys walk up to you on campus and say, hey, we could figure this out. We could make a couple of dollars. Like, there's too much, and these guys are too available to the public being on campus like that.
And younger.
Clearly, there's way too much temptation there for dudes that aren't making money. For that seems to be a hole that you do need to lock up. You need to close that thing up. Maybe with some steel wool, like I'm potentially going to do with some mouse holes.
I also don't think, by the way, maybe we'll save for the quick trip take of the day, I found the worst suggestion ever to fix your problem. But back to, don't let me forget.
What a tease. That's what I'm talking about.
This is the worst suggestion.
This is my tease. Don't let me forget my tease.
But my
don't let me forget my tease.
My last.
All right, I'll write it down for you.
Thank you. My last.
Armin's tease.
Okay. I don't think that qualifies as one more thing. My last point on this is this. I want to say this too. Yes, I think other guys, the next thing is someone will say other guys are doing this, everyone's doing it. I actually don't think this means everyone's doing it, or a lot of guys. I think most people are not trying to get in trouble, are not going to risk it, are not kind of stupid enough to try and do this. And also, I think most people aren't out there, most athletes aren't out there trying to cheat. I don't believe they are. I know it's easy for people to jump to that conclusion. I don't believe it. But yeah, if there's one or two out there, that might always be the case, right? But I don't think that means a majority of the guys are fixing games. All refs are on the take.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you, Armin. Yeah. I would say it's the far minority that are doing this,
right.
But you know how perception is, and
yes,
how much does this and as these sports leagues influx their capital with the gambling companies and all these websites, how much does it hurt the fans? Does it ever really hurt the fans enough to say, well, there's a tangible decline in interest because they don't have trust in the authenticity of this sport now?
Because that trust, John, is the only thing holding it from being professional wrestling, right? Which is something I love. However, if people believe that it is being manipulated behind closed doors and that you don't have that truthfulness in front of you,
the integrity of the game. Yeah.
That's why it has to be done. Adam Silver said there is nothing more important than protecting the integrity of NBA competition for our fans, our teams, everyone associated with our sport, which is why Jontay Porter's blatant violations of our gaming rules are being met with the most severe punishment. While legal sports betting creates transparency that helps identify suspicious and abnormal activity, this matter also raises important issues about the sufficiency of the regularity framework currently in place, including types of bets offered on our games and players. We're working closely with all relevant stakeholders across the industry. We continue to work diligently to safeguard our league and game. Could you imagine, could you see them limiting player propositions, player investments like that?
No, they can't.
It's easy to make it. Also, it's easy to make an example out of Jontay Porter because he's not like a big face of the league,
Oh, like if he was the best player in NBA history and had to go play minor league baseball? Who said that?
Wow, I don't know.
What a jerk.
Wow.
Well, you did say he was the best player in NBA history,
Oh,
which is a
he
step
got you.
up for
At that
Billy.
time.
He
Which
got
is
you.
a step up for Billy.
He got you on that one.
My man John Henson just said an $80,000 parlay on Jonte Porter props is insane. Well, yeah, it's also insane to be betting on games, John. I'm glad my man John Henson woke up with that news.
You still talk to him? You used to be a ball boy with him.
Saw him at Radio Row.
Nice.
Saw him at Radio Row. He came on up and said, "Dude, what are you doing over here? Same thing you're doing, just trying to make $1."
I love it.
Goes, good. You're probably doing it worse than I am.
He was a monster in
always a
college.
good
He
time.
killed Marquette in 11 in the
3-time
Sweet
defensive
16 game.
player of the year and thing in the ACC.
We couldn't get a shot up in that game over him.
Loved Family Guy and loved a major cheeseburger. Who doesn't love a good?
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't
Sounds
love a good
like
major
me.
cheeseburger and some wings?
Sounds just like me. Yeah.
414-799-1973. He's just like you. He's Armin Sari, and he has set the tease that I reminded him for. And you're going to get that next. John Coons right there. I'm Billy Schmidt. It's 9 to noon on the Game. 9 to noon, round and third, headed for home. We promised you the dates and times for Bucks and Pacers. It was released last night around, well, just timely around like 1:30 in the morning. Appreciate that, NBA. The 3-6 matchup between the Bucks and Pacers will start Sunday, April 21st.
Let's go.
In Milwaukee on TNT at 6 Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. We did not get the starting matinee.
I thought we were going earlier.
That is not good for one Armin Vegas Sarian, as you're going to be in the 702 trying to dip, dive, and dodge through some tea dates that you have.
Yes, we do have a tea time during that time.
Large amount of tea bags that you guys are going to enjoy. America's Got Talent that you guys are going to.
A lot going on. When I say
tea bagging over there, Armin.
When I say tea time, I don't mean golf. We're having tea.
Yeah, he's having tea bags.
Listen, it's okay. The nice thing about it is there's sports books everywhere.
Armin and Laura teabagging together.
I'll make sure to see it.
Interesting.
I don't need those Snapchats.
Just gonna let that pass.
I don't need those pictures to anybody.
You know, it's of course Laura's. I'm gonna let that pass.
You brought it up. You brought the conversation up.
Yeah, I did not bring up the tea bag thing, but I brought up. Yes, we are gonna have tea. But hey,
yes,
listen,
you are having tea.
Don't worry about it because
that's
America's
on the
Got
bucket
Talent.
list. Teabagging with Laura is on the bucket list. Is what you're saying.
On yours?
No, I told you I don't want pictures of Laura.
I don't need those.
Bucks versus
Pacers Sunday night at 6 o'clock. That will be at Fiserv Forum. Again, ticket secondary market, very, very affordable.
Not even that, and not only that, they're even less for game 2.
For game 2, which is Tuesday night, that'll be the NBA TV special 7:30 tip between the Bucks and Pacers. Then it shifts to Gainbridge Fieldhouse, one of Armin's favorite places in the NBA, where the Bucks are the visiting team in game 3 for a 4:30 afternoon tip on Friday. Now, some people are dogging this nationwide, saying, see NBA putting a game at 4:30 for. There's something called the NFL draft.
No, they like to do that. Yeah.
That ESPN, that last I checked, John, they air the NFL draft. They're going to want to get one NBA game in before the NFL draft so they don't just have to keep running through all the 32 guys that got taken last night.
Right.
Yeah. They'll get some fresh content there for that Friday matinee.
There's also one more. I don't know if you are looking for secondary tickets, there's something on the back of the ticket. I don't know if you guys read it. That's new this time. They added it on. Yeah. No Eeyores allowed if you're going in the Fiserv Forum. Okay. No Eeyores allowed. No, none of this Eeyore. We're gonna lose.
Look into the camera when you cut a promo.
Yeah,
like
we're probably gonna get swept or 4-1 or the Bucks or we're better clean house this year. We better dump this and that. We made it bad. No Eeyores allowed. This is playoff time. We need the fans to be excited, ready, and behind this team. We need positive energy.
I had such high hopes.
Thanasis and Armin.
Thanasis said at first you had high hopes for what? For our fans to not be
No,
Eeyores?
for the promo that you were about to cut, and then it kind of stumbled on through. Like it appeared that you were about to go rock style into that camera, and then it sounded more like a job.
No Eeyores allowed. Please
None.
Do not do this. This is not the time for this now. This is playoff time. We're going for a championship.
First brick three-pointer had a Dame. Oh, here we go again.
Oh, trust me, because that's what it is. We don't need that.
So you sound like you make it sound like there's going to be a lot of Marquette Warrior fans in attendance.
Don't need that energy. Okay, and I felt it in game 1 of the NLDS last year when we walked in to American Family Field. I felt it. Everybody was waiting for the shoe to drop. The only thing that's going to drop is we're about to drop a bunch of 3-pointers on Indiana's head.
Let's go. Drop that candy ass. That's what I'm talking about.
Bucks in 5.
Well, game 5 will be Tuesday, April 30th. No time for that one set up, but game number 4 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Armin, you guys could make that trip down there, 6 o'clock tip on a Sunday night. Listen, TNT game there on the 28th.
I can speak from experience now. I know how that Gainbridge trip goes. I know how long I need. I know what stops I need to make. I know where to park now in downtown Indy.
Right. Wow. Even better, that Sunday night tip at 6 o'clock works out perfectly. If I do my math correctly, John Kuhn and Matt Schneidman's day date at American Family Field, 1 o'clock first pitch. You guys can be back by tip-off.
We could be.
Well,
that's beautiful.
And if you miss it, you're in the suite, so you can put it on the television there in case you miss it.
If we go to extra innings?
I was going to say
That's what I mean.
5 hours worth of extra
I
innings.
guess you're right. Never mind then.
That'd be an impressive run. That would be a run that many people would want. You should take a run over to Quick Trip today because you don't want to cook tonight. You stop by your local Quick Trip, pick up a freshly prepared, absolutely delicious take-home meal. You might even find there our Quick Trip take home of the day is brought to you today by Armin Sarian, and we have had this hook set for the last 10 minutes. Armin, what's the takeaway of the day?
We did, guys. We had this hook set for a while, and I really believe that of all the suggestions for Billy Schmidt to take care of the mouse, this is the worst one from Dave on the text line. Billy, you got to put a garter snake in the house. That is the worst idea ever. Okay, to try and catch a mouse in your house is just to start releasing snakes. I don't think that. What's that term? You cut off the nose to spite your face, or you cut off the leg for the. We're going to keep sanding
Something
off
like
the
that,
legs to make I don't think the idea to get rid of a mouse is just throw a snake in there.
That feels like robbing Peter
exactly.
to pay Paul.
That feels like the wrong direction to go in. I figured out a problem for the mouse. Great. Thank goodness. That thing's been terrorizing me. We're just going to release snakes in the house. Yes, I know garter snakes are harmless. I know they're not poisonous. I still don't think I want a snake slithering around my bedroom, my bathroom, and the kitchen just in case it'll catch that mouse. That's just my idea.
Could be a fun way to live, though.
Well,
would be intense.
Yeah.
Would add a new intensity to the house.
Just that intensity. Yeah, just that. Where's the snake? So there you go. Sorry, Dave. Worst idea of the day to get rid of that mouse is to put a snake in there.
Instead, all I see with the gardener snake is little Carson grabbing it and walking. Hey, Dad, what's this?
He'd love
choking the thing and just sitting there. Hopefully, a mouse in its belly, though.
And before everyone texts, yes, I know garter snakes are not poisonous and they're not harmful and blah 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 blah. Still don't want one slithering around the house. That's just me. All right.
Where would you put the snake in terms of the power rankings of things you don't want in your house?
That's really high up there. I mean, obviously,
I said 1A, 1B with the mouse and cat. I think snake would be 1A.
I mean, in terms of like small varmint, right?
Well, then what do you get to catch the snake afterwards?
That's a good question.
I mean, what eats snakes? A honey badger? I mean, right? One of those things.
Yeah, put the honey badger in your
right.
house.
Just start. Then
that
what
sounds
eats
easy
that?
enough.
Then
Well,
yeah.
Why don't we just get lions and bears in the house just to eat everything else? Then you're good to go.
You were fired up this last segment, man.
This is awesome.
I mean,
dude. I told him it was spicy sorry in today, John.
The baby mooner, the teabagging baby mooner is fired up in this last segment. I'll tell you what.
Well, we are only 40, 50. How many hours am I away from leaving on the plane? About 52 hours away.
You cannot wait. I like this one. This one might be even better, or it might be even worse than your garter steak. Billy, shotgun and lots of spackle.
Sure. Yep.
That one might be worse than the garter snake, but definitely more explosive. This has been an explosive 9 to noon, wide open Wednesday. You already know what that means. John Kuhn, great work here today. Great seeing everybody here for the last couple of days.
It's so fun to all of us to be in the same room. It doesn't happen to us that often, so it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it.
I know why he's all fired up, John.
Our songs next? What?
No.
Or Mike Keller song?
You're still enjoying that bone marrow from last night.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
What a night. What a meal.
I dug it out of the bone correctly with the knife, and weren't you proud? Come on now. Because at first I used to have a big time
proud
trouble.
of Papa. So proud of Armin.
I used to have big time
proud
trouble
of him every
with that.
day.
Yeah. That bone, that's good stuff. That's savory.
The only thing that's going to make him prouder is when you light your next cigar on your own.
Don't burn myself.
For John Kuhn, I'm Billy Schmidt. That's Armin. Sorry. Thanks for listening. 9 to noon. We'll be better tomorrow on a Thursday. You got the game.